There's no time.
The time is
13
o'clock.
Hello out there, everybody. It's time for another episode of the 13 O'Clock Podcast.
Yeah, this is going to be a good show.
This was actually Tom's idea.
Yeah, it was my idea because I was involved in some other shit. I guess I could probably talk about it. I wanted to put Jenny on this case to get down to the bottom of it. It's it's kind of a current event, and some people are thinking that this might relate in a way to the Epstein case. We're gonna find out. I don't know.
I didn't see anything mentioning that, but
what's the thing is like online there's this. It's being called a conspiracy theory. There's this thing that's I've been trying to figure it out for fucking months now, called Q, and whether or not this is some kind of source coming out of the government, or if it's something that is a fraud. And really, I can't figure it out. It actually seems to be true, but I don't know if it's the source of the information with this Q thing. I think the source is other sources, but then it's kind of turned into almost kind of like a fortune-telling device, as if it's predicted something. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's the original source. Not yet, but there's a lot of people that don't really know what this Q thing is. But it's relevant because this supposed Q source says that the NXIVM case was, I guess you could say, a secret part of the government's effort to get the public aware of sex cults. And that this was the first sex cult case that was a bunch of rich people that they wanted to expose to get them ready for what Epstein was all about, and eventually leading to the fact that like all the world's leaders or all the real tough guys are all been compromised by these sex cults. I don't know, there might be something to it. My mind's open, but I don't believe anything until I see it in a court of law. You know what I'm talking about?
Sounds far-fetched.
We'll just have to see. I mean, but
well, and the thing about
this is far-fetched.
Well, the thing about this is that people were talking about NXIVM as being a cult way back in 2003. It's just no one really...
Look at this cat.
Yeah.
Okay, stop it.
It's just that no one really, listened... No one really, It didn't kind of get onto the, kind of wider stage...
Yeah.
Until, an investigation in 2017... when, there was kind of like a famous actress involved and shit like that. But like I said, people were warning about that Ross guy. I can't remember what his first name is, but he's like a very famous, I've seen him on a bunch of like Scientology documentaries and stuff. He's like a cult researcher. And he was like warning about this back in 2003. I think he even got sued by these motherfuckers for saying that they were a cult, because he pretty much came out and said, I think it's a cult, quote unquote. And they kind of got all up his ass about it.
Yeah.
So... people have, like I said, people have been warning about this type of shit since a long time ago.
Now, there are some connections with this cult with politicians. There's a Republican guy named Roger Stone, lives here in Florida, who evidently was a lawyer for them, I think, if I remember correctly. But he dealt with them on a limited basis, evidently for like a few weeks, and then evidently he didn't want to fuck with them either after
they gave money to political campaigns, but I mean they're doing the same shit that Scientologists do.
That's what we want to talk about. Although we don't laugh at Scientology either. Scientology.
This is very similar to Scientology.
Okay.
It seems like it stems from the same root, and it seems like it has a lot of the same influences.
It's a self-help improvement.
Yeah,
cult.
It's like they even have a lot of the same terminology. She moved the camera again. They even have like a lot of the same terminology. They use the word suppressives, they use ethics, they use all that kind of stuff. And I feel like the guy that runs it got the idea.
He's an ex-Scientologist or something.
Or knows about it and used the same, because he used a lot of the same. In fact, this is pretty much Scientology with a sex cult angle.
Okay.
Because I think the only thing that Scientology doesn't have is that, as far as we know. I mean,
right. Well, we'll get to the case in a bit.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put you on it to see what you could dig up on it. You know what I mean? To see if there's anything to this case.
Yeah, well, obviously there is, because the guy at the head of it got convicted.
Okay.
He doesn't get sentenced till September 25th. A couple of the actresses that were also like kind of higher ups in there and like tried to recruit other people into it have also been charged and were also found guilty, although I don't think, like, some of them like got lesser sentences, for testifying against it and stuff. Right. But it's, like I said, it's very similar to Scientology, where you get like people that got the hell out of it and then, came to the media and talks. Like I saw there was a documentary in 2020 about it. There was like, I think A&E is doing a thing about it. I don't know if it's aired yet. I think it aired a couple months ago, but I couldn't find it. But I found the 2020 one is on the ABC website. If you want, and for free if you want to watch that. But yeah, this is basically, this is the kind of thing that it's like, I hesitate to say, because I know that a lot of people, and I've said this about Scientology too, I know that a lot of people that get into that later are not idiots, but it's just really hard for me to, I don't even think it's like a question of intelligence. I think it's a question of a certain personality type that's drawn to this type of thing. Yeah. Like, because anything, the NXIVM cult, like the Scientology cult, it's like anything that's like any kind of hierarchical corporate kind of like thing, I always like run away from that screaming like as fast as I possibly could.
Some people, they just love it.
But some people really like that kind of thing, and it's like,
I noticed that, in the generations, especially the generations older than us, like our parents' generation, they fell hook, line, and sinker for any kind of clean-cut, corporate, official appearance to things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That as long as it looked like it was approved of, then it must be correct.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the mentality.
But people are still, it seems like people are still falling for that type of thing.
That's because they believe in things that they see.
Yeah, it's like everybody's like wearing a suit and like talking about...
Right. If you're wearing a suit, it has a logo, it has a nice office. If the colors are correct...
Oh, they must know what they're
then they must know what they're talking about. It must be...
That is not the case.
It must be approved of. It must be the real thing. You know what I mean? I think that's what people are seeing when they fall for this shit. They fall for appearances.
I do find it fascinating, though, and especially this one, like, and we've done a couple shows about Scientology, like with Angry Gay Pope and stuff, and I had my own Scientology experience because I used to live in Clearwater, and I worked at a company that was owned by them, which was a horrifying experience. Even though they didn't like try to recruit me or anything, but they do like make you read all that L. Ron Hubbard bullshit, and they do kind of like, it's like a soft conversion is what they're trying to do, but it's like, luckily for me, I don't like that kind of shit, so I just laughed at it.
I've worked for corporations. I associate suits and corporate rules and corporate imagery with just fakery.
That's exactly how I see it. So it's like, but I know that not everybody's like that. Yeah. So I can see how this might appeal to some people, to an extent. But I do kind of feel like this cult in particular, and I've seen this, people have referred to other cults this way too, and I saw like another person talking about this cult in particular. It's the whole frog in boiling water thing. It's like you kind of get in there and they make you take courses and it seems to help you, and it seems like, oh, it's like my life is getting so much better. They're like, helping me out of my career, and they're helping us out. But then like slowly, like stuff starts to ratchet up, and at this point you've invested so much money and so much time into doing this, and you're thinking, oh, well, it did help me, so it can't be bad. So it's just like inch by inch, it just gets worse and worse, and before you know it, you're getting branded. Yeah. So,
above the cooch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really understand. I mean, I can't understand how someone can just, I don't know, say, yeah, this corporation, this whole outfit is helping me. I just never really had that experience.
I haven't either, but I don't know. I'm basically.
Maybe it starts off slowly. I don't know, or maybe you didn't grow up with parents or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. Because like I said, I think, and honestly, like from birth, I am a very, like, I do not like any type of authoritarian anything. I don't like being told what to do. I don't and like if people do tell me what to do, I'll tell you I'm going to do it, and then I'm not going to do it, and I'm just going to do it the way I said I was going to do it anyway.
You'd make a shit soldier.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's like, so that's why I never joined, because
yeah.
I don't have that personality type.
Right.
I'm just like, man, fuck off. I'm going to do whatever
I have
want.
it, but I have to have basically a fucking brave commander. I almost have to fucking fear and respect him. I know that if I disobey, then I'll be punished. If I can't be punished, then I don't care.
Yeah, it's just I don't like but I don't like any kind of, I mean, like I said, the military is different because it's with a purpose. It's just I feel like I don't like this kind of empty authoritarian, we're just going to tell you what to do. You should do this, that, and the other thing. It's why I don't like self-help groups. I don't like anything like that, because it's like, you guys don't know me. It's like, you don't know how to help me. It's like, only I can help me.
I liked military fighting units.
Yeah.
I could only be in like an infantry or maybe armor, even though friends of mine ended up going to armor later on, and they just said it was boring compared to the infantry. But infantry gets on your nuts too.
Gets on your nuts.
It gets on your nuts, yeah.
Well, we were talking about it the other day, like, in the sense of, and I was talking to one of our listeners about this as well, because we were kind of talking about the movie. We saw that 2012 movie Compliance the other day,
yeah.
And that's based on a true story. And I actually kind of want to do a whole show about the cases that was based on, because it's like fascinating. It just goes to show you that so many people are used to just like listening to whatever a quote unquote authority tells them to do, that they will go to like absurd lengths.
Yeah.
And the thing about Compliance, and it's based very much on like this one case, and it's pretty accurate. It just goes to show that at first you can see, I could see how that would happen. Yeah, I could see how that would happen. Like if somebody called the thing and said they were a cop and said, you need to do this, that, and because nothing sounded that crazy, but then it just got crazier and crazier and crazier. And then like, you're just sitting there going, how could you not have, but like I said, once you've already gone that far, then you feel stupid and you don't want to back out. It's like, well,
maybe that's what it is.
I think that's what it is, because I mean, they've done like, was that the, it wasn't it was the Milgram experiment, where they were showing like people in lab coats or like people in uniforms would come and like tell people to do something, and it's like most people would like shock someone to death. Not really, but they thought they would shock someone to death if someone in authority told them to, but only if you ramped it up. You know what I mean? Only if you ramped it up.
What's weird is that I don't have the inclination to listen to like corporate authority. Like, for instance, I'm in a drugstore, and a dude in a Walmart or at a drugstore corporate outfit, you know what I mean, starts talking shit to me. It's not going to work. No. Even if I work for that, say, drugstore or Walmart or some kind of corporation like Ford or something, I'm not really going to, I don't really care what they say. Well, now, if it was a military or a government organization, maybe a little bit more. Especially if it was one that, like I trusted, but...
Most of the time, no.
But a McDonald's or a Chick-fil-A?
And and the thing too is that even if someone says they're a cop or says they're, I mean, like in particular the case that they talked about in Compliance, there was just a dude on the phone that said he was a cop, and like people just bought it.
Yeah, and cops, I don't really trust cops.
Well, no, me neither.
Yeah, I don't trust cops.
No one should.
Depends on what kind of cop it is, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe a state policeman. I probably trust him a little bit more than just like a local small town cop. You're gonna do you gotta do what they say. They'll fucking kill you. Yeah. This is the United States, you know what I mean? But no, I don't trust them.
That's the thing. It's like lawyers even if it's a real cop. Yeah. I mean, one, you always have to worry, but it's like it's just a fake cop, like it's just a guy with like that stole a uniform or whatever. But even if it's a real cop, they can fuck you up, because a lot of real cops have like, hey, I'm gonna pull this girl over and rape her.
That's not a lot of cops.
That happens.
A lot of cops didn't do that.
No, I didn't say that. I said, I said that does happen.
It's happened before, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it doesn't even... Yeah. It doesn't even have to be a fake cop. It could be a real cop.
Well, it does happen. In some police units, the I guess you could say the quality control is not good. Yeah.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this kind of like researching this cult has kind of got me thinking about, because I was thinking about that movie, and I was thinking about the Scientology shit that I had to go through, the stupid company I worked for, and like how people react to authority and how they will do just stupid shit that you would never do on your own, just because somebody told you to.
So what's going on? Do we have any...
Yeah. So we got to do a couple of shout-outs before we start talking about the show.
Yeah.
We had some new patrons this week. We had one named Victoria E. Hey there, how are you doing? Also had a new one named Sheena. And we had one named Joseph that went away for a while, and then he came back again. Okay. So he returned this week. So
yeah.
So hi, all you guys. Thank you very much for your support. Also, big news, Faceless Villain 3 is done.
Yeah, it's not on audiobook yet.
But... Yeah, but today, we're recording this on Friday. I uploaded the print version and the ebook version today. By the time this show comes out, it will probably be up.
Yeah.
And as soon as it goes up, I'm going to upload, because the audiobook is done. I just have to upload it. And that usually takes between 10 to 14 days.
Right.
So... The print audiobook should be up by the time the show comes out. Audiobook will probably be
week or two.
Like a week or two before
we'll tell you when the audiobook.
But we'll announce it.
Yeah, and this is the first audiobook done with the new equipment.
Yeah.
So the sound quality is very good.
With the new
and
really expensive
we
microphone.
Did put out some crap in that first couple years that we were doing this, but I think it's pretty much all of it's been kind of cleaned up. Huh? I think the Steve Mera books are recorded with the old microphones, right?
Yeah, I haven't got around to it.
You got to get around it. We'll go clean those up probably.
Yeah.
And then, but you got to do that other thing. You got to do your fiction.
Yeah, that'll be the next project. Right. I'm going to do audiobook versions.
Yeah, eventually, some of the other ones that you did, I think the audio quality is good enough on them.
Yeah.
But eventually, the audio quality on all the old stuff will be good.
Yeah.
Real good. I mean, I think the Steve Mera stuff is serviceable. It's just not the best.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, we had like the kind of starter microphone.
Yeah, that old microphone, right?
Yeah, and since then we've got like a bunch of different. We got a couple of Yetis. We got that really fancy one that I have set up in the.
Yeah, the Yeti was okay microphone, not a great microphone.
That's what we use for this.
That new professional microphone is a lot better. It sounds a lot better.
Well, and it sounds a lot better in that dead room,
right?
Too, because now we have the little closet with all the.
Yeah, eventually, everything's going to be, brought up to new standards.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back and fix everything and clean everything up and all that other kind of stuff. All right, so let's start talking about NXIVM. And every time you say NXIVM, I always say that's the purple pill, right? Isn't that for fucking...
Yeah.
Isn't that for fucking... What's it for?
Indigestion?
Indigestion. I thought it
Something
was.
Like that.
It's not boner pills, is it?
No.
Yeah, so I don't know why they want to call it that. It's not spelled like that.
No, NXIVM I think was some kind of a fucking...
It's Roman numerals. It's like NXIVM, because he was trying to be like fucking fancy and shit.
Yeah.
Ugh. I've been watching shit about this all day, and it's like this guy is like such a fucking douche. I just like, oh my god.
All right, tell me about it.
He's like an L. Ron Hubbard wannabe.
All right.
So NXIVM is what they call themselves, a multi-level marketing company. It's fallen apart since then, since there were all these convictions and stuff, and that's very recent. The main guy was just convicted in late June of 2019, and he'll be sentenced in September.
He's going to get a lot of time.
15 years to life is what he's looking at.
He's looking at you to get 40 years.
Because there was a lot of charges.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that bitch going to get 30 years.
Deservedly so.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just like one of the most punchable dudes. Seriously, I don't know why anybody would think he was awesome. But anyway, so this was started out as a multi-level marketing company based out of Albany, New York. Now, what it initially was supposed to do was it was offering what they called executive success programs. What that fucking is, I don't know. I don't do this corporate jargon kind of shit.
It's kind of like something Scientology would try to offer you.
That's what I mean. And they use a lot of the same
communication course.
Yeah, they have like all the same it's all the same shit. They have like all that same like jargony type of corporate speak. They charge you like thousands and thousands of dollars for all these courses and shit. It's the same exact fucking thing. Yeah. And yet some people fucking fell for it. Again.
Yeah.
Even though pretty much everybody now knows that Scientology is like...
Yeah, but this is the real one. Scientology's fake, but this one's real. Yeah.
It's just crazy.
It's funny because all that stuff was kind of based on things that Aleister Crowley was working on. Aleister Crowley and... what was his name? Guy from the Satanic Church.
Anton LaVey.
Anton LaVey, yeah. Because Crowley, he thought, he and his buddies figured that you could sell magical teaching. You know what I mean? If you did it in blocks. And you made them pay to get higher and higher. It's a scam.
Well, yeah, clearly.
It's a fucking scam.
And like I said, this guy, NXIVM wasn't even this guy's first thing. And he'd already been, like, done for doing a pyramid scheme before. And they were like, hey, knock that shit off. And then he just, like, renamed it into something else, like a good con man does. Mm-hmm. Just like, as far as I know, like I said, the sex cult thing, that Scientology doesn't have that. And as far as I know, these motherfuckers never tried to, like, petition the IRS to say they were a religion.
Right.
Maybe because they didn't think of it. I don't know. But
no, they would have known everything about Scientology.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I also get like a big vibe of like, this is very similar. If anybody remembers like 60s and 70s, that thing they called Est. It was like Werner Erhard or whatever that guy's name was. That kind of like self-improvement, kind of brouhaha, all that kind of crap. It kind of reminds me of that. And it also reminds me the way that a lot of the followers like talked about the guy that runs it, Keith Raniere. The way they talked about it, it sounded like the cult of personality that developed around Ayn Rand.
Okay, yeah, Ayn Rand.
It reminds me of that.
Right.
Like where she could do no wrong and she was like the smartest person ever and like you couldn't question her because, you know, even your taste in movies was like objective and if you liked the wrong movie then you were obviously wrong and you needed re-education and all this other kind of stuff. It's very, very much like that. Because this guy comes off like he's like the smartest dude on the planet, the most ethical dude on the planet. He can control the weather, this, that, and the other thing.
Whenever these motherfuckers start coming at you with ethics, L. Ron Hubbard fucking just...
That's what I mean. It's just like, I heard, L. Ron Hubbard, that's his ghost coming through there.
Ethics and morality can weave a twisted web. I mean, a lot of that's all just opinion, really. I mean, well, most of it. You can make anything seem ethical or unethical if you got a silver enough tongue.
Well, and that's exactly what this motherfucker was doing.
Dude's doing. Yeah, you got to be real careful. Preachers, and people teaching ethics and lawyers, it's all about the same shit.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this kind of shit is.
Yeah, serve your own interests. Make your decisions based upon what's good for you, not some other motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you're not, fucking with somebody else.
Yeah, well, depends on who that person is.
That's true.
Yeah. That's a bad person who's fucking, fucking over a bunch of other people.
Then
fucking over your progress.
Then have at it.
Yeah. If somebody's in your way, you might have to move that person out of your way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So NXIVM, like I said, it started out as this kind of marketing company. Now, as it went on, there were these other little things that developed that were like tendrils of it. The most infamous of these was called DOS, which was like... It was
an old computer.
No, it is, but it actually stood for like a Latin term, meaning like dominium or something or other. Okay. But it actually translates to master over slave women.
Okay.
So that was like their women's group.
Yeah.
This is a real special... This group is like super, super misogynistic. It's very, very scary.
Yeah, but strangely, it attracted a bunch of women.
It did, and I don't really get it.
Well, I think there are just some women that need a man to tell them what to do. They're kind of
I don't know. It was fucking weird.
Masochistic.
Yeah, these girls definitely had some issues.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it's founded by Keith Raniere now, and he has been convicted of all the charges. Probably the most famous member is the actress Allison Mack, who's most famous for Smallville. She actually went to trial along with him because she admitted, now she pleaded guilty. He pleaded not guilty. But she came forward and said that she had recruited women, that it was her idea to do the branding, that it was this, that, and the other thing, which is really weird because she just seems like this little blonde actress, this cute little blonde actress, and like why she was up to all this nefarious shit, I don't really know. Now, before, NXIVM started. Raniere had this business that was called Consumers Byline.
Now hold on, before we're going further, where is this all happening?
Albany, New York was their base.
Okay.
But they have it's like Scientology. They have like little, they don't call them orgs, but.
Right. How long has this shit been going on?
NXIVM started in 1998, but he had a similar thing before that.
Okay.
But that was when NXIVM was founded in 1998.
Old.
Not really.
Not really old.
Not really. So, okay, so before he started NXIVM, he had this thing called Consumer's Byline, which was, I'm not entirely sure what it was. Like, I saw like
some corporate shit.
Some corporate shit that I don't really get. Yeah, that every time I hear it, I just want to barf.
Yeah, if you're a New England yuppie, that's looking for a job, you might get suckered in by something called Consumer Byline. Maybe you might be able to make a buck off of that, but they're probably going to run through your ass.
Yeah.
That's,
It's just...
That's the kind of way they would name something like Flypaper to attract, corporate wannabes.
It had something to do with... It almost seemed like a shopping club type of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure what it was. Like, I was watching a documentary and they had
probably something like Amway.
I think it was like sort of like that.
Yeah.
But I saw I was watching a documentary about it and they had like some old like commercials like that looked like those late night like infomercials like from TV and stuff like from the 90s. Where it had this douche like talking about it.
A douche?
Well,
A douche talking?
The douche. You know how it is.
Yeah, it's probably something like Amway.
I think that's pretty much what it was. Yeah. Like from what I could glean from the commercial, because I'm like,
you couldn't come out and call it Amway, or we're an Amway Light, or we're another version of Amway. You got to recast it.
You got to recast it. It's nothing like Amway. It's nothing
like Amway.
Except, pretty much as soon as he started like trying to hawk that shit, the New York Attorney General was like, yeah, that's like Amway, and that's a pyramid scheme.
Okay, yeah.
So.
Although I don't think Amway is a pyramid scheme. Well, they got around all that shit.
Yeah, but it's like clearly
you buy this, you buy these products, and then you go out and sell them.
Yeah.
And then you get other people to join in, and yeah.
I remember one of my relatives.
They're trying to. I think with Amway,
trying to recruit everybody.
Yeah, I think with Amway, it was trying to sell generic products to people, and you got bonuses if you got new customers, and they could sell it too, and it was trying to form a new economy. But that doesn't happen that couldn't happen today in the age of the internet and eBay.
No.
It was just back in the 70s.
Yeah, it seemed like that was kind of, I think the heyday for that has passed. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe
my uncle used to buy some of their stuff.
Yeah.
It was actually good. Like health bars and...
Yeah.
And the quality was good, it tasted good, and I think the prices were pretty good. But what they were doing is you joined up, it was kind of like joining Sam's Club.
Yeah.
In a way. You paid for a membership, but then you could buy all this stuff from there. And you were kind of expected to sell it to other people, too. But they mostly didn't. They mostly just bought it. Bought it and used it themselves.
Well, that's probably what they were hoping would happen.
You're right. Yeah, that's probably what they were hoping. Yeah.
Because it's like you're putting this middleman in there that doesn't even need to be a middle one. It's like, why don't you just sell that shit to, like, customers and then the end?
So, I don't know how fake Amway was. I mean, I did eat some of their stuff.
It's still around, as far as I know. Yeah.
It's just another way of buying products directly from a manufacturer, and maybe you get a better deal on it, I guess. I don't know.
I suppose. Like I said, I never really looked into it because it always...
Well, man, I'd just go down to the store.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like especially these days, it's not hard.
No.
But yeah, so pretty much immediately he comes out with this Consumer's Byline thing. New York Attorney General's like, hey, that's a pyramid scheme. Knock that shit off. So he didn't get in like super big trouble or anything at that time. This was in 1996. But he had to sign like a consent order that said that he wouldn't do that type of like chain distribution type of shit anymore. And he had to pay a $40,000 fine.
Yeah. Motherfucker were trying to set up Amway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, undaunted, Keith Raniere in 1998 and his second in command, whose name is Nancy Saltzman, founded NXIVM, supposedly a quote-unquote personal development company offering executive success programs, or ESPs.
Okay.
Because, again, I'm getting the Scientology vibe. It's like everything has to be little acronyms and shit. This is just making me very nervous.
He's trying to find a hustle.
Yeah.
Okay. Riding Amway's dick, he couldn't do that. So he's gonna
What a great mental image.
Yeah, he couldn't ride. He tried to ride Amway's dick, but couldn't do it. The law stopped him, so he's gonna instead ride LRH, L. Ron Hubbard's dick.
Yeah.
And make his own version of Scientology.
Ooh, no one wants to do that.
Something kind of like Scientology. That's
exactly
because Scientology offers that too. We'll help you in your acting career and your and in your personal life. We'll give you the communications course. That's the first one. You know, just in case you don't know how to fucking talk.
I had to take that.
I don't really understand that. Yeah, I don't understand communication course.
And like I said, reading the shit, because I had to do these courses the first half hour of every workday, and I've mentioned this before, you had to do like L. Ron Hubbard course, his communications course, blah, blah, blah. And it's like reading it, he's a crazy person. Yeah. He was a crazy person, clearly.
Yeah. Well, I think people that join Scientology and make it stick and stay in there, they're crazy too. So it's a crazy
You have
world.
to have a little bit of a screw loose, I have to say. Because I'm reading that going, this person is clearly crazy.
I would not go to a Scientologist to learn how to communicate. Every one of them I've fucking seen on the internet. I ran into a couple of them at Starbucks one time. Those motherfuckers are nuts.
Yeah, no shit.
They're nuts.
I worked with a whole building full of them.
They're nuts and they think that they know more than you. And they don't even know what anything is.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, that drove me crazy.
Yeah.
There's nothing that drives me... Well, I don't know. This is a pretty long list. But there's nothing that drives me crazier than a stupid person that thinks they're smart. And that's exactly what Scientologists are.
It's kind of like one of these dudes like Ashita Kim or somebody that came from one of these 1980s ninja schools going to the fucking MMA and trying to teach them how to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody would laugh at you and then just pound you into a crimson stain on the floor.
Yeah, it's a 98-pound dude with fucking little ninja stars and a blue ninja suit and shit. You know, get the fuck out of here.
Well, see, anytimes I'm always... This is why any type of shit like this...
teach you how to levitate.
Yeah, it's like...
You know? Yeah, ninjas think they can levitate. There weren't even fucking ninjas. That's a myth. Did you know that? There were no ninjas.
I know.
Yeah. The samurai thought they were ninjas, but the shinobi just meant covert operations. There was just other soldiers doing that. Okay, go ahead.
You're getting me up on.
I'm gonna have to fucking do a show on samurai, on ninjas.
That'd probably actually be a fun show.
Ninjas and martial arts and the bullshit that is martial arts.
He's obsessed with this now. He's been watching.
It's paranormal. It claims to be paranormal.
Yeah, you're right.
It claims to be paranormal, and I kind of believed it when I was a kid in a certain way.
A lot of people did.
But looking back on it and seeing what they're doing now, like, oh yeah, okay. But some of those guys could fight, so it was very confusing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's better if you're going to have a scam or a hustle.
Yeah.
It's better to at least kind of look like you know what you're doing and not look like a total idiot.
Yeah, there were some people just hustling through the kung fu fucking scene. They were totally bullshitting. Or there were some guys like Chuck Norris that really could beat your ass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was beating people's asses. He was a pro fighter. You know what I mean? And he didn't make the same claims that, another guy said that, he can become invisible because he's a ninja or, or he could throw chi balls and shit,
I love
We're
that.
getting sidetracked.
I love that shit.
But
it's kind of all of the same.
Yes, a kung fu dojo, some of them are very much like a Scientology org. They're kind of selling mind powers.
Yeah, and this was kind of like that too. And check this out.
There's an element of LARPing.
Check out this segue that I'm about to make. Is that one thing that they do in NXIVM is they have something like a martial arts belt thing. Okay. Except they're scarves.
All right.
But I think it's the same colors. Like, it's white to start and then yellow and green or whatever, blue, brown, whatever. So they do the same kind of thing. So they wear these colored scarves so you know what rank they are. So I guess you know if you can treat them like shit or boss them around or whatever. So they have that. So see, I tied it in with the whole martial arts thing. I tied it all in. We're
going to do a martial arts show.
Yeah,
that'll do one eventually when we're ready for it.
Yeah, that'd probably be really fun.
Okay.
So these two chodes start this fucking thing for corporate self-improvement, blah-de-blah. I guess it's kind of like personal self-improvement, but the only people that could afford it were like rich corporate types, because the classes, just like Scientology, were like thousands and thousands of dollars. They would do like these fucking things called intensives. So Scientology-esque. Oh my god, it's freaking me out. And, the class is like $25,000. What the fuck are they doing in there? Who knows? They're doing like a kind of... on the 2020 thing, they actually got some like little secret footage, like looking in the window, like while they were doing some shit. And they're doing like... they all, like, do the chants and stuff. It's like when you work at Walmart and they kind of make you do, like, the happy Walmart fucking chant. And, God, I hate that shit.
Damn.
But it's terrible. But so...
I don't know why civilians would want to do any of that.
That's what... Yeah.
We did that in the Army, but we were singing old war songs and shit.
It's like, why the hell would you want to work at a place and it's like, oh, rah, rah. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just give me my paycheck, okay? That's the only fucking reason I'm here.
Big difference between getting a paycheck and putting on a nameplate and going out and killing some motherfuckers and then having your friends die and shit to fight some kind of fucking battle. There's a big difference between... Why would a civilian want to do that shit?
Like, what?
And it doesn't have that
if you work at Walmart, you don't really have much of a choice, do you? Because you get fired.
But no, these guys are going to this training school, this corporate training school to fucking sing corporate songs and shit. And it doesn't have the same impact as fucking... You know what I mean? Dudes that kill other dudes for a living.
It's just like, I don't know.
It's kind of a solemn occasion.
I used to work with this girl who she was a manager, but she was like super, super into... She was just super into like all that corporate kind of stuff. She had all the books, like the 1 Minute Manager and all that kind of stuff, and she was so into it. And she's like, she always wanted the department to go like all these, and do like team building extras. I'm like, please no. Please no.
If you can't be a good leader by instinct, then shit, you can't be trained to be a good leader.
It's like, I don't know if that's true. I mean, you do have to have a certain personality type for sure. It could be honed, sure.
You have to have the framework of what the corporation needs. Like what information they need. And this, I understand that.
I understand training. I just don't understand this rah, the company, yay. It's like, that's basically what they're doing is they're trying to brainwash you into like doing all this work and not getting any reward for it. That's what they're doing.
You either have a leadership personality or you don't. Just some people it just can't be trained in them. Usually when the military has training like that, it doesn't really have much to do with the person's personality. It just has to do with their training on some kind of a paperwork mechanism of how to interact, say, with Army bureaucracy. That's what the training is about. How to fill out forms.
Yeah.
Basically. You know what I mean? For leadership type schools. Well, not really. I guess it depends.
But I mean, companies just do it because they want you to do a bunch of, they want you to feel like you're part of this quote unquote team, like, oh, we're all in this together and stuff like that. But
it never really works.
That's bullshit because they could fire you for anything and like not even care. You know what I mean?
And all the backstabbing and everything going on inside a corporation, cheating each other and trying to steal each other's hours and all that kind of shit that they do. You can't. If you trusted another person in a corporation, you were a fucking child.
I just can't.
They're all your competition.
It's like I've liked people I've worked with. I've been friends with people I've worked with and didn't mind hanging out with them and stuff. But in general, it's like if I have to go like after hours, like for some fuck no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm sick.
That's one of the. I'm
reasons, like, are you paying me to hang out with these people? No, then I'm not going.
It's one of the reasons why they outsourced our generation's jobs to China and stuff is because we wouldn't do them. We wouldn't fucking do them. It wasn't just us. There's a lot of people we didn't fucking do that shit.
Like, fuck that. Like I said, I gotta hang out with these people 8 hours a day. I'm gonna hang out with them like in the evening too.
We were too smart for that.
Fuck that noise.
There's a really good movie that you guys want to watch about this.
Office Space.
Office Space.
Everybody's seen Office Space.
Yeah, I went through that too.
Yeah, I think everybody did. That's why it's a beloved classic.
Our generation went through that. I think a lot of those jobs are gone. But,
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, I'm going to need you to come in Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to come Saturday. Well, you don't need to do that anymore because everybody can work from home now. Those same people that were in that office would be working from their home office.
Yeah.
Telecommuting and shit.
I just kind of want everything to go like that because if I don't have to go in and like hang out with other people and look at them and stuff, then that'll be
just turn the work in. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like as long as I get it done, it's like I don't need somebody like, barking down my snorkel all day.
It was a 1950s mentality of a boss walking around managing you and he doesn't know how to operate a computer.
Yeah. What are you doing over here?
Yeah. What does that do? What's that called? Formatting a hard drive. Yeah.
Somebody needs to put paper in the
What does that mean actually? What does that mean actually to format a hard drive? Okay.
But yeah, so
he's making 5 times what you make.
Well, yeah. That was one thing I always hated because it always seemed like people that were in charge of you didn't know shit about about how to do the job.
They were in their 50s back then. They were just the babysitters.
Yeah.
Basically.
I don't need a fucking babysitter.
We were doing all the work. Yeah.
It's just like, that makes me very resentful. I don't like it. But yeah, so this whole thing, and I love this fucking quote from this dude. His main emphasis was to have people experience more joy in their lives. Who knew that by people he meant him?
Oh, yeah.
having more money and sex slaves.
Yeah.
So that was, he's like, I didn't say what people. I just said people.
Yeah.
I meant me.
You meant him, yeah.
So I love this as well. So during the seminars that NXIVM would give, you're supposed to you can't call Keith Raniere by his name. You have to call him Vanguard.
Okay, he's the Vanguard. That's his title.
It's like, and as soon as I heard that, I was just like, oh, I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. But yeah, it was like that. It was like, somebody that knew him said he got it from a video game.
Probably did.
A video game.
There's a video game called Vanguard.
Yeah.
I remember it. He must have been around my age.
But he said it was because he, much like Ayn Rand was all like, oh, I came up with this amazing like philosophical framework that no one ever thought of before in the history of ever.
Ayn Rand was, yeah, that's fine.
And I'm like on the vanguard of it. This is a new philosophical movement, so you have to call me Vanguard. Now, the woman that was like his right-hand woman, Nancy Saltman, she got the much less awesome title of prefect. So it kind of sounds like, she was Hermione in the Harry Potter universe there. She kind of like got the little prefect. But as we will find out later on, this is not... he didn't have a very high opinion of women in general, it seemed like. He thought they were much less than men. They were irrational. They were this, that, and the other thing. So I feel like that was almost kind of like a little dig at her, even though she co-founded. I don't know, maybe not. I just got that kind of feeling that, well, I'm going to be Vanguard. You can be prefect. I'm like, what the
Okay.
I was like, okay.
Well, it's just going to be like anything else, like with martial arts and Scientology. There's an element of fucking live action role play and LARPing.
Yeah.
And that's LRH and Scientology. Okay, there's role playing involved.
Yeah. Well, literally.
And those motherfuckers can make a lot of money, man. The Church of Scientology is fucking huge. They got desert secret bases and shit.
I know.
I wish I'd have thought of that.
I bet a lot of people wish they
I
thought
wish
of
I'd
it.
have thought of that.
Well, this douche that thought he thought of it, and he did it for a little while.
Right.
He was making enough money that when they arrested his dumbass, he was like at this big fucking $10,000 a week big mansion in Puerto Vallarta. So he must have been making some money off all these suckers.
Man, sucker born every minute.
Clearly.
Yeah. There are some people that just really want approval. And,
it's like, I feel like, and it's bad because I feel like, look, there's nothing wrong with self-improvement in general.
But that's not how you do it.
But that's, it's like, and I think that's what makes these kind of groups so insidious is that, there's nothing wrong with, like, wanting to be better at your job or, wanting to, like, deal with your emotions better or whatever it is. But the fact that you go to these seminars and spend thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's not how you do it.
And then end up getting, like, sucked into this fucking shit where you're, like, working for free and all this other kind of shit. Same thing that Scientology does. It's like, there's just better ways to do it. It's like, seriously, you could self-improve for free. Just go to the library and check a book out. Just read some shit on the internet. Anything.
Or you can self-improve for real. Pick something that interests you, that's difficult, and go out and do it. Say, like, rock climbing.
Yeah.
Go climb a fucking big-ass rock.
Yeah.
All right? That shit's hard.
Yeah.
Go fucking, go climb Mount Everest and shit. It's freezing fucking cold. Become a diver or something. There's a lot of hard stuff that people who are not all that tough can learn to do.
Yeah.
And they can improve themselves.
And once
challenge yourself.
Yeah, and once you do that, you'll feel like
you'll feel a lot better
because
you did something. You know what I mean? There's fucking bodybuilding, mind building, spirit building. Go out camping, go survive. Go out in the desert and try to survive with, minimum stuff. Train yourself up. Go with a group of guys and survive out there for a couple weeks. And then come on back. It's fun. We used to do it in the Army all the time. Field exercises.
Well, and like I said, you don't even necessarily have to do anything, like, physical. You could just, like, fucking write a story, paint a fucking picture, just do something.
It all depends on who you are.
That makes you feel like you accomplished something. It makes you feel a lot better about yourself.
Yeah. I've always thought to try to find your weaknesses. Find a weakness in yourself and confront it and try to strengthen that weakness. Yeah. And then you find something that you're one of your strengths, right? And then you hone that.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Do stuff like that. It's very effective.
Yeah.
And a lot of people's problems, they have first world problems. You know what I mean? Their lives are not that hard. And they're spoiled. And then they start feeling very miserable because they're not challenged. So they start disintegrating. Go out and challenge yourself. You know?
Well, and I feel like the weird thing about it is that the NXIVM group and Scientology also, it's like they didn't necessarily want, I mean, they wanted vulnerable people in a way, maybe like emotionally vulnerable or somebody that had shit they could exploit, but they wanted people that were already successful, like people with money. Because a lot of the people that came into NXIVM were like big actresses. They were already millionaires. They were already, you know, they had like that one of those douches from Enron like took classes there. That's like the fucking daughter of the Mexican president.
That's not hard though.
Shit like that. No, I'm just saying it was people that already had money, that already had success, that like, you know, poor ass broke dick people like me would be looking at it being like, what the fuck problems could you possibly have, millionaire?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you something. This is based on my personal experience being a salesman up in Boston, you know, up in Wellesley, Weston, Dover, with some of the richest people I'd sold in those areas. In my experience, it's much easier to sell to a very rich and intelligent person because they'll listen to you. All right? Go try to sell to some dumbass. You know what I mean? You can't sell them anything.
No.
You know, you can't sell them anything. So some of these intelligent and powerful people can kind of be pulled in more easily because they have an imagination.
Yeah.
And you can play on that imagination.
Yeah.
All right? And then start to convince them of things that in the end are not true. It's easier to calm them.
Yeah.
Go up to some streetwise motherfucker from the hood. Hey, man, let me tell you something. Man, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they would probably
they have defenses.
punch you.
Yeah, they have defenses.
Well, because they're used to getting fucked over.
Exactly. A lot of these rich, very high-class people do not have the same street defenses.
Because they're not used to getting fucked over.
They're not used to it. Right. So you can turn their imagination and their intelligence back on themselves because they don't think that they can ever be fooled.
Yeah.
And the best thing to use against them is things like logic. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what this guy was doing.
Yeah. Logic has a lot of problems in logic because I can sit there and logically explain to you that your life really isn't worth living. And if given enough time, maybe I could get you to kill yourself. That's some weird shit, huh?
Yeah.
Dudes have done it.
Yeah.
Cult leaders have done it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
very famously.
Yeah. So there's a certain amount of weakness in intelligence. And there's a certain amount of strength in being stupid. Go try to pull a con on a shark. Watch what happens.
Yeah.
They just bite you.
Problem, too, is that, like I said, I think sometimes people that are intelligent, sometimes you have a blind spot of your own weaknesses or your own stupidity. Because sometimes smart people, like, they know that they're smart, and so they think that other people can't trick them, or they think they're smarter than other people, so they don't think anybody else can pull shit over on them, but that's not the case.
Right. And, you know, even the smartest, richest motherfuckers got weaknesses.
Well, yeah, everyone does.
And a good con man could find those.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, shit, there are dudes that do it to women. They find the fucking weakness in a beautiful woman. And a lot of times her weakness is that she's beautiful. Next thing you know, she's fucking just miserable.
Yeah.
In an abusive relationship, you know what I mean? Feeling bad about herself.
That's one thing that this guy did a lot of.
Yeah. You find a woman that's beautiful, tell her she's fucking ugly.
That's what he would do.
If she's skinny, you tell her she's too fucking skinny, or she's not skinny enough. That kind of shit.
Well, yeah, and like I said, there was one thing that he did, and I was listening to, there's a really good, the Canadian Broadcasting Company did a 8-part podcast, and they interviewed one of the actresses, a Canadian actress, Edmondson, her last name is.
Yeah.
And she was in this for a while, and then she got the fuck out. And she got branded, the whole deal. And she was, like, talking about it. And it was, like, heartbreaking, like, listening to how it sucked her in. And something that they did a lot, and he would do this, and, like, he got, like, some of the other women that were in charge to do this as well, was negging.
Yeah. What does that mean?
That means, that's, like, a thing that, like, that pickup artist type dudes do. Where it's, like, you go up to a woman, like, in a bar or something like that, and you'd be like, that's a stupid hat. Because they're trying to
get a reaction.
Well, one, they're trying to get a reaction and to
get
you to like want to please them. Like, I'm not, like, you know what I mean? Because they think that that's something that works. I mean, rather than most women just like kicking them in the balls if they did that. But that's something that they did in this a lot.
Right.
And one thing that he would do, like I said, and why I said that this cult was kind of like misogynistic, was that he had this belief that women were genetically inferior. They were genetically irrational. They were genetically manipulative, and they couldn't help it. So you had to come into this group to fix that. You know what I mean? So he was coming at you from the angle of you are already fucked up naturally, so you have to come here and we have to help you and fix all this shit that's wrong with you. You know what I mean? So he very much had that kind of mindset.
Well, there's something to that. Anybody who joins a cult has a problem. So he's already got something on you.
Well, and they know that.
If you join a cult, there's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's the ones like this, though. I mean, Scientology, like I said, everybody knows that's bullshit now. But this one, if you didn't know, because there are other companies, as far as I know, that do this kind of like team building corporate shit and everything like that aren't cults. But so if you just went to like a couple of classes and it seemed like just the regular run-of-the-mill corporate bullshit that everyone else is doing, then you wouldn't think anything about it. So that's what kind of made this one a little more insidious, I think, just because it didn't seem like that at first. Yeah. You know what I mean? It just seemed like regular corporate bullshit.
Well, how's it go? What's next on this?
So I was going to say, like, other than, you know, all the, you know, people that were in it, Linda Evans was in it for a little while. Some of the two women that were they were heirs to the Seagram liquor fortune. They actually funded a lot of it. They gave them like $150 million or something like that, some ridiculous amount. Couple of other like actresses from Smallville, a couple from Battlestar Galactica. Nikki Klein, I think she was on Battlestar Galactica. She was in it. So much like Scientology, the training that NXIVM uses is supposedly it's a trade secret, which I'm sure it's like so original and shit. So there's all these like non-disclosure agreements. So if you publish some of their shit, just like Scientology does, they will sue you. So they do the same kind of crap. Yeah. You know what I mean? So this is what made me think of what you were saying before about logic and everything. So the technique that they use, like to improve your life and bring you joy or whatever the fuck they're doing, they call it rational inquiry, which anytime anybody says something like that, just run away as quickly as possible.
Yeah, see, they're going to use logic to fuck you over. Jenny's heard me say it many times. If I get into an argument, I say, stop trying to reason with me. I don't do it with her. But other people say, stop trying to reason with me. I cannot be reasoned with. And that usually shuts it down. Usually when somebody's reasoning with me, you know, they're trying to reason me into something that is not in my advantage. You know what I mean? They're trying to get me to do something that's good for them and not me. Don't reason with me. I'm not reasonable. Reason isn't the deciding factor in what I do. It's more the gut. I kind of gut and what seems to make sense. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, instinct a lot of times.
Well, this, like I said, I kind of feel like if you have to come forward and say this is rational inquiry, then it's not. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like...
Inquisition is what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, and it's kind of like when people come out and say that they're cool, they're not cool. It's like if you were cool, you wouldn't have to tell other people you were cool, right?
If you were cool, you don't give a shit if you're cool or not.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
That's another person's opinion of you.
So if you say that you're rational and all this other kind of shit, then clearly
something wrong.
Then there's something the matter.
Something wrong. Yeah.
Now the thing about this fucking dude that runs this shit, Vanguard.
Yeah, Vanguard. There was an old 60s rock group called Vanguard.
There was, yeah. I remember that. Wasn't it like...
It's kind of hippie music. Kind of like, you know...
For a second, I thought, wasn't
Emerson, Lake and Palmer. No, not Emerson, Lake and Palmer. What's the name of that fucking band?
Donovan?
Something like that, kind of, you know. Fly, fly like the sun. Da-da-da.
Oh, I remember that
like
song.
That, something like that. But they didn't. That wasn't Vanguard.
Yeah, but I remember that song.
It sounded like that.
I was gonna say, isn't that a deodorant? But no, that's Right Guard.
Yeah.
Do they still make Right Guard? That's what I'm gonna call him for the rest of the show. Because in a way I got kind of I'm gonna call him wrong guard. But I kind of got mad because I was watching the 2020 thing, and it's like they called him by his name some of the time too, but sometimes they would call him Vanguard. I'm like, stop doing that.
His title.
Yeah, like don't call him
I am the Vanguard
that.
of humanity. That's the same thing Scientologists say.
Exactly.
That they're the cutting edge of human
L. Ron
development.
Hubbard was Commodore. They call him Commodore.
Commodore.
Same exact.
Then you got Tom
shit.
Cruise.
What do we call him?
I don't know. He's got all kinds of medals of valor and shit. I'm not gonna talk bad about Tom. I feel sorry for Tom. I mean, I think he's a good guy. I think he got wrapped up into something that
that was yeah. I know. I
think he's a good guy. Just
I feel bad for him. So most of his movies annoy me, but I do feel kind of bad for him that he got sucked into that.
I think he's a good man.
I think he's a little nuts, though. I think.
It's hard to tell.
He might not have been nuts when he started, but he's for sure nuts now.
It's hard to tell because I don't think you'll ever really know who Tom Cruise is. He's constantly putting on a show for cameras and stuff like that. So
I always wondered if that happened with a lot of actors, like particularly ones that are like really get into their roles and stuff. It's like, do they like forget what their own identity is? I could see that happening.
I've heard it. I've heard guys talk about him. Other actors and stuff, and just based on what they say. He's an intelligent guy. He's very competent. He's in really good shape. He knows a lot about motorcycles and stuff and guns. He knows he's not a dummy. But I think Scientology's got him by the balls too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a little bit. I don't think he can leave. If he leaves, they'll give up all of his secrets that he said during confession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the same kind of shit that this place was
doing.
So
that's why I feel sorry for him.
Same type of shit. Yeah.
And I think maybe they did help him and I think they helped him. But I also think they used him. And then I think that they kind of trapped him.
And that's the thing. It's like, it seems like a lot of these groups, I mean, this group, like I was talking about Est earlier and stuff, where, I mean, some percentage of people that are in it, and even some percentage of people that are in Scientology that maybe aren't like in the fucking, that aren't like living on the premises and stuff, that are still living relatively normal lives and stuff, and just go in and take classes. A lot of them have said, like, it helped them in their life and stuff, and I'm not gonna shit on or say that they're crazy for thinking that. Maybe it did help them. But
in the case of Tom Cruise and Scientology, and in case you guys don't really know the show too well, I know Scientology very well, and so does Jenny. Did a lot of studies on it, talked to people that have dealt with Scientology and then protested it and everything. I think in the case of Tom Cruise got the fucking red carpet treatment by Scientology.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise was already an actor by the time he joined Scientology. He's already had a lot of money. So when you're an actor, you're pretending. You're not really the real thing. He's pretending to be a hero, but he's not really a hero. He's pretending to be able to fly jets and do all this fucking superhuman shit. But he doesn't do that in real life. Well, how's he going to get this street cred for his own... You know what I mean? For his own peace of mind, to let him know that he really is a competent person. What's he going to do? Is he going to join the army? No. He can't join the army. Is he going to join the Air Force? No. He's got to join something to give him official training.
Yeah.
And the closest thing that he's going to get to what he's looking for would be Scientology.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the Navy.
It's kind of like the Navy. I don't think he's a Sea Org member.
No,
but he probably gave him all kinds of cool little training, and him and David Miscavige riding fucking Ducatis and shit. And he shoots guns and does shit like that. And he's got his own fucking, version of Scientology, fucking Navy SEAL shit going on. That's what it is. So he can say, I did some real shit.
Yeah.
Now, evidently, I've heard that, David Miscavige thinks he's a fucking tool. But they're friends, too, evidently.
But spoiler alert, it's actually David Miscavige that is the tool.
David Miscavige is a tool, too. They're two little short guys. Me, David Miscavige, and Tom Cruise all hanging out the same side. Okay? It would be awesome. All riding motorcycles together. Shooting guns.
You're gonna ride out to Gold Base?
Go right out of Gold Base. But I'd be a heretic, though, because I don't have my fucking...
You're a suppressive person.
Yeah, I'm an SP.
You're an SP.
I haven't progressed along the bridge, you know what I mean? But here's the deal, man. I could probably fucking run it with those douchebags. And probably hold my own. Because all the shit that they do in Scientology, they kind of do that in the military, too, Yeah.
Yeah.
All the hazing and fucking smoking people and shit like that, and the discipline. We play those games also.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Fucking they come in with that crazy shit. I show them mind control, too. How's a motherfucker like Tom Cruise going to talk badass with me with the fucking ass cheeks like that? Huh? Now with an ass that tight, you can't talk bad. Fuck no.
You can bounce a quarter out.
Bounce a quarter off that shit, man. You can't talk to me like that.
He's going back into booty warrior
Going
mode.
back into booty warrior.
Somebody said that we should, like the last episode we did, that we should
Yeah.
make a drinking game out of every time you said booty warrior to take a shot.
Booty warrior.
I'm like, you'll die of liver failure.
Fleece
before the
Johnson,
show.
booty warrior.
Please don't do that. We do not endorse. We do not endorse that. Please do not die of alcohol
Cute as
poisoning.
Tom Cruise is, that motherfucker better not be talking shit about me. Yeah, he's got better motorcycles. I'm faster though.
Shit, man. We're
I'll be
talking
short guys with motorcycles.
We're talking shit about NXIVM and Scientology.
Yeah.
We are gonna get so sued.
I know. Yeah, and I'm feeling pretty good off this fucking tequila fucking me up.
We're gonna say all kinds of.
What's the time? Is it time for a break yet?
Probably.
All
Let me
right.
say yes. We're already an hour in.
It's gonna be a good show. It's gonna be good because we're really just starting to get to the meat of.
I know we haven't even
like
really started talking. Well, we've kind of been talking about
Okay.
it, like kind of around the outside.
All
All right, so we're about an hour in already without even realizing it. So
Yeah.
we're gonna take a break right now. When we get back, we will talk some more about the NXIVM cult and probably more about Scientology and maybe more about Tom Cruise's little tight butt too. So we'll see how that goes. If he gets drunk enough.
I only bring that up to keep Tom Cruise under control. That motherfucker gets sporty with me.
He's
And I
gonna
gotta
get sporty.
In my mind, he's getting sporty with me. You know, I'm hallucinating that Tom Cruise is getting sporty with me, and I have to refer to his tight ass.
And he's gonna back that ass up.
If motherfucker as pretty as him can't talk sporty to me like that, I'll fuck him up. I love you, Tom. It's gonna be all right. I'm just talking shit.
He really does. He loves Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Will you stop it? Stop doing it. Stop doing it. No. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Stop tearing up the furniture. Stop tearing up the furniture. Stop tearing it up. No. Stop tearing it up. Stop tearing it up. Yeah, we're back. I'm back talking about Tom Cruise's ass.
That's all he talked about through the whole break, you
Yeah,
guys.
that's all I'm talking about. Yeah, you fucking full of shit.
I know. He didn't really.
Yeah, no.
Mostly we just got more ice in our drinks.
So it's like Scientology what they're doing, but they're abusing it.
Like Scientology's not abusing it.
Yeah, well, they're abusing it, but this guy's abusing it at another level.
Yeah, this
As
is
far as I
kind of
know, all the shit I've talked about Scientology, there isn't any like official sexual abuse going on. Evidently,
No.
even LRH didn't. And he had little teenage girls around him all the time.
Yeah, I never really heard anything, which is very unusual because usually that's a main component. I mean, they do other shit. They starve people and work people and beat them and stuff. But as far as I know, they make people get abortions.
Scientology,
if they don't want to.
Scientology, as close as I can tell, are a bunch of true believers. They're into this shit because they really believe it. They're not in it for the sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That very well may be. I'm not really sure. What was that little meow?
Well, hey, come here.
What happened?
That was a weird ass sound that the cat made.
Yeah,
Okay,
is she all right? Oh, okay.
See.
There she is.
Yeah, she is.
What happened?
She wants to go out front with the Bazers.
Oh, no, you're not doing that.
Yeah.
So, Keith Raniere, the dude that started NXIVM. Now, I should note, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but he was one of those guys, just like L. Ron Hubbard, that had this, like, big, spectacular, like, oh, I'm a big super genius. I was talking in complete sentences when I was 1. I could read when I was 2, blah, 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 blah. And all this other kind of shit. Everybody knew that I was, like, the smartest guy ever. I have an IQ of 240, this, that, and the other thing. So, there was all that kind of
240?
business. That's what he claims.
Okay, all right.
I don't buy it.
All right.
Not for 1 second.
Yeah.
Also, I could read when I was 2.
Okay.
It's not really that big a deal. Calm down. So, what? No, I'm just saying.
Okay. I can read early, too.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
so it's
really
a lot of people can. It's not really that. I mean, it's not.
Evidently, I could talk. It would scare people. I was so little. You know what I mean? That I would talk, and people would be like, "Damn, he can talk." But maybe I was just short. I don't know.
Maybe you're just okay. So, as I said, this was founded in 1998. Now, by the time 2003 rolled around, they claimed that almost 4,000 people had taken their classes, including like a lot of kind of big actors and business people. They even said that Richard Branson took some.
Who's that?
The guy from Virgin.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's like super famous. He did like Virgin Space.
So they're going to this shit?
Well, he said he didn't.
Okay.
But they claimed him anyway.
Right.
Now, as I said, even as early as 2003, there were some people that were like trying to call bullshit on this bullshit.
Right.
So, so as I said, the cult investigator, whose name is Rick Allen Ross, he talks a lot about Scientology and stuff too. I've seen him on lots of different documentaries about this type of shit. He actually published some shit from their manual, like on his website, or like described some stuff. So they tried to sue him because they're saying, "Oh, hey, we have non-disclosure agreement," and
same thing, fucking
Scientology. They
does.
do the same thing. Like anybody that criticizes them or anybody that publishes their super top secret, like corporates, like nobody knows how to do all this stuff, like to make your life better. Only we know how to do it, and you have to pay $25,000 to learn how to do it. It's like, no, I don't think so. So, I mean, nothing in there. Like I said, I've read some L. Ron Hubbard stuff, and I didn't have to pay for it. It's nothing you haven't heard before. It's just with just like a little sprinkling of crazy on top.
Yeah, it's not even woo. It's not even woo.
No. It's just,
bullshit.
It's like it's not like
very basic stuff with a little bit of bullshit thrown on.
Yeah, that's right. It's not even like to the level of it's not even like Deepak Chopra level bullshit where it's just like
Deepak
where it's just like meaningless stuff that sounds really profound.
Yeah.
God damn it, Pookie.
Pookie, why are you moving shit?
She's like, what? Why? What are you?
Okay.
She's gonna push that right off of there.
Deepak Chopra can say some shit that was like mind numbing, but the woo factor. You're talking about. You're like, wait a minute, hold on, what? It's like the inside is outside and all around of us. Yeah, you're like that. You're like, what? The inside is outside all around us. Just stupid shit.
Yeah, it's like don't try to. And
LRH couldn't even come up with some shit like that.
No, most of his shit was just warmed over corporate and objectivist kind of stuff, but with a little bit of crazy on top of it because he was.
Yeah, and it's poorly written.
It is. It is
poorly
very
written.
It is very poorly written.
You're definitely not in the hands of an expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for him being like, oh, he's the most enlightened, smartest, yada yada, it's like. I'm not seeing evidence of that. I'm just very sorry.
Imagine if, like, your Uncle Ted, you know what I mean? If your Uncle Ted is trying to spread wisdom to you and trying to pretend to be a corporate guru, you know what I mean? It'd be something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how it comes across. And I haven't read this douche's stuff, but it's like, I imagine it probably comes across. Maybe it comes across like a little less crazy, because I don't think he was a total whack job like L. Ron Hubbard was. He was just a regular con man. So maybe he could actually write something slick. And like I said, fucking corporate speak doesn't even sound like English anyway. So, because they use so much jargon and like meaningless phrases and shit.
I think I have to amend your words, though.
Yeah.
Because LRH wasn't really a whack job. What he was he was just kind of like an average Joe that could spin a yarn and talking bullshit. He's the kind of guy that you'd run into on a porch somewhere in Mississippi, drunk off his ass, and sit there and just telling you fucking stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Telling you stories about
the time that he controlled the weather.
Yeah, about how the world worked. You know what I mean? And how the government works and how the banking system works. You know what I mean? And this is like a dude, you know, and it's like a dude from the 60s in Mississippi telling you this shit. You know what I mean? It's just not. You know what I'm talking about?
Not really the person you want to go to for any kind of...
Yeah. He's just like a random guy.
It's like your one crazy relative at Thanksgiving that like they have like a few too many and then they start ranting.
But I'm not going to say that LRH wasn't talented, though. L. Ron Hubbard was a talented man at spinning.
He's a talented bullshitter.
Bullshit, and he could fucking tell you a tale. And evidently people that joined his cult were just fucking mesmerized by the stories of fucking, you know, what battles happened on what stars, that he's showing you some stars.
And the alien
and
volcano
people,
whatever the story
and I think
is.
I think that was the strength of LRH, was having him there in person in the cult, and him telling you stories. I'm adjusting the camera. Him telling you stories and him pointing to the stars, and they're out on the damn ship. What was the name of that damn ship that they were on? The free winds. They're on the free winds, and he's telling you, oh yeah, that is Zeta Reticuli 2 right there. And,
with his big old flappy lips.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what he did. That's what he did, and he can make a system and shit. But, you know, when he died, it got handed over to guys who, you know, like David Miscavige, that...
It's weird because...
You know,
and
turned it into something a little more aggressive, you know?
Yeah, and the thing about, like, Scientology and this cult as well, because the guy that runs this shit, Keith Raniere, the guy that's going to prison, he seems, and I'm not the only person to say this, because even the lady on ABC that was doing this fucking documentary that was, like, interviewing people that had left the cult were like, you know, not to blame the victim or anything, but it's like, you know, how could you get sucked into... He seems charisma-free.
Yeah.
I said, even though she didn't use those words, but that's what she meant.
That's kind of the opposite of LRH. Evidently...
I found him also charisma-free.
But evidently, in the time, according to people that were there in Scientology, in the time that LRH was alive, they were having fun in the fucking cult.
Yeah.
All right, that they liked it and they were having fun. And I guess that's what the purpose of a cult is to have fun, you enjoy it, you give them all your money.
That doesn't sound fun to me.
They liked it.
I want my money so I can have fun with it.
It's LARPing, you know. It's live action role play, and that's...
I can't have any fun if I don't have any money.
But this dude here, man, he's a douche. I got to get off Scientology because I fucking, you know...
It's so similar.
It's very similar.
I mean, the more I read about it, it's just like, I'm like, God damn it. It's like, didn't anybody notice, like, the similar... It's like, so they even use some of the same words, for Christ's sake.
Well, it's probably what happened is that the guy that was in charge of NXIVM knew everything about Scientology.
Clearly, because he set it up just like that.
Yeah, and he goes like, "That's a winning strategy. How can I really improve on that?"
Yeah, it's like they've made billions and billions of dollars, so I need to do that shit.
Yeah, I'll just rename it and I'll get some pussy out of it. And that's really what...
That was just, you know, the icing on the cake, because like, Scientologists aren't even getting that. I'm going to go one better. That's probably exactly what he thought.
That's exactly what he says. I'm going to get some pussy out of it, and fucking, you know, it's going to be kind of like BDSM. We're going to fucking, you know, I'm going to brand them bitches. You know what I'm talking about? You know, it's like that.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So as I said, but
because
in
Scientology, the women that you're dealing with there are basically like the fucking... something out of Lord of the Rings, you know. They're like those little hobbit-looking women, you know, the Bagginses. You know what I mean? That's who's paying you in Scientology.
Either that, it's either like...
The NXIVM cult girls were all hot.
In Scientology, it looks like they're either like the Bagginses or they look like "Can I see your manager?" ladies.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like no in between. It seems like.
Yeah, so he's dealing with a hotter, younger bunch, and he's going to run through them.
Yeah, he did. Well, some of them, like I said, some of them stayed in there till the end, and they had to go on trial just right alongside.
You can fuck a woman's mind up.
No shit.
Yeah.
It's, and depending on the woman, it's like not, and some of the, like Sarah Edmondson, like the woman that I was listening to that Canadian broadcast, the podcast about with her. Yeah. And that was like an interview with her. It was like 8 parts or something like that. And she was in it for 12 years, I think. Wow. So, and then finally she was just like, what the fuck am I even doing? And she got the hell out of there. But it's like...
Yeah. Tell us more. Tell us how this went down.
But yeah, so as far back as 2003, people were calling this a cult, right? Okay. So it's like Rick Alan Ross has like published a bunch of stuff on his website that was like, supposedly their super secret training methods or whatever. And they tried to sue him, but the suits were dismissed. Now then, in October of 2003, Vanity Fair wrote an article. Now the cult thought that it was going to be some positive fawning whatever, and then Vanity Fair was like, nope, and they like wrote a thing. And they basically said that they thought it was a cult, and they quoted people in there that thought it was a cult, and the cult got like super, super mad about it.
What's funny, I don't understand why they get mad over the term cult. Everybody gets upset over the word cult. A small religion is always a cult, and they don't get offended over the term religion. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's because I guess the negative connotations.
Well, because
I would, if I was going to make a cult, I would name it cult. Be like, you know what I'm talking about? Be like the Tom cult.
The Booty Warrior cult.
Tom cult of Booty Warriors. You know what I mean? Some shit like that, you know what I mean? And that way you go into it knowing.
Well, and then if people call you a cult, you're like, well, yeah.
Yeah. Like, hell yeah.
You just have to lean into like what the criticisms.
Eventually, it's going to become a denomination and then a religion, or a religion and then a denomination of a religion.
Because I think the problem is like when you look like you're trying so hard to like deny something, like, you know what I mean? It's like people come out and go, well, I think it's a cult, and they're like, well, I'm going to sue, blah blah blah. It's like, well, everybody's going to think, well, obviously it's a cult, because otherwise they would be like, nah, man, they wouldn't care. If they were just cool.
A lot of things have the element of a religion or a cult. A lot of things do. Political parties, certain political ideologies have cult type, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I mean, in common parlance, when you talk about a cult, it has to have specific aspects to it to be a cult.
I mean, there's a leader, a bunch of followers, right?
Yeah, and it basically has to be isolationist in the fact that it's trying to like cut you off from friends and family, which this place did also. Okay. So you can only be surrounded with people that think the same way as you do.
It has to be like a unit, a high security unit.
Right. So it has to have like a specific, it means a specific thing. Okay. So it's not so much that they're just like throwing that word around. I mean, it does have a specific connotation that is negative. I mean, it's a negative connotation. Because usually if you get sucked into that shit, it's like somebody's got to go in there and save your ass. Because before you get branded or whatever.
Some of them don't want it out, though.
I know, and that freaks me out.
Want out.
They don't want out. Unless they're not getting the worst of it or they think they deserve it, I don't really know.
I think the most successful, best cult in existence is probably the cult of Reverend Sung Moon.
Sun Young Moon, yeah.
Sun Young Moon, yeah.
They're still around, right?
Yeah, they're around, and evidently they're making a lot of money, and the people evidently like the cult, and fucking Reverend Moon actually projects to go out and fight communism. So how bad could it be? You know about that?
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, he went out and fights communism all the time. He evidently brought down the Soviet Union.
When you go outside of your body and do shit outside of your body, you can pretty much take credit for anything.
Yeah.
That's some good thinking right there. Man, I need to start using that shit. Yeah. Every time like something really awesome happens, I'll be like, yeah, that was me. I astrally projected out and I did that shit.
Evidently from whatever, there's not, you can't find much about him, but evidently Reverend Moon was okay. He was all right. He wasn't like too bad,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't
guy.
know a great deal about the Moonies. It's like pretty much the only thing I know about them is like all the shit that was in like fucking airplane shit. Back in the old days, like shit. All of them from airports and shit, and that mass wedding thing that they did. But so as I mentioned before, the two daughters, like the heirs of the Seagram liquor fortune, had like given the cult all this money, and they're like super into them and stuff. Now their dad, who actually like ran Seagram Liquor at the time, was seriously not happy about it, and he thought it was a cult as well. So he was like trying to get his daughters are like they're like adults, they're not kids or anything like that. So there was like a whole bunch of thing there. Now they also, I think later on, because I remember the two sisters, the Seagram sisters, they're not named Seagram, they're named Bromfin, but they were going into court because they wanted to sue. They were actually asking the Albany County District Attorney to sue like a bunch of the critics of, so they wanted to do like this whole thing like Scientology does where, you criticize like in any capacity, then we're going to sue you into bankruptcy or we're going to ruin your life or whatever. I don't think they do like the shit like Scientology does, like they put up websites saying you're a child molester and stuff like that.
Yeah, hand out flyers.
Because they do that, you guys. Yeah, they hand out flyers in your neighborhood saying
kill your pets.
Saying they kill your cats and dogs and like give your neighbors flyers saying that you're like a sex offender and shit like that.
Hiring PIs to fucking find out and go through your garbage.
Yeah. Now these people do go through people's garbage because Rick Allen Ross, the cult investigator, he said they did like take all his garbage. Okay. Like when they were trying to sue him for shit. He's like, yeah, they actually came and like got all my garbage. He's like, they were like outside my house and shit. It's like it was crazy. But yeah, so now before Allison Mack got in there, like I said, she's kind of probably their most famous member. She got in because another actress who was also on the same show, Smallville, named Kristen Kruk. Now, she got into it in 2006. So she goes there, she like actually recruited Allison Mack into it. Now, Allison Mack became like, they think that she might be kind of like the shadow second or third in command. And like I said, this is kind of fucking crazy. And she admitted in court, evidently, that she was the one that came up with the branding idea. Like for branding the women. Because here's the thing. Now, before I get into that, and before I get into the good stuff, I have to say that here's another thing that's like very much reminded me of like Scientology. So the Bronfman sisters, the Seagram Liquor people, and Vanguard, or Wrongguard as I like to call him, they started this fucking thing with the very Scientology-esque name of the World Ethical Foundation's Consortium.
That's like something Scientology.
That's what I mean. It's just like, this is killing me, man. It's like Scientology's little brother, or like their perverted little brother.
Whenever you see these little groups that have these names like this, and they're just nothing but just all this weird virtue coming out of that name, immediately cross that one off your list. Don't trust that shit. Don't trust that shit. Some unethical motherfucker. I don't trust anything. Yeah, some crook has made that shit up. Yeah.
But yeah, so they actually arranged to have the fucking Dalai Lama come and to Albany and talk in like 2009. Now, for a while he wasn't going to come because there were even like some negative shit going on before then. They were like, maybe you shouldn't do that shit. But he did end up going. And there's like footage of it because there was like some of it was in the documentary that I saw.
So the Dalai Lama shows up and gives this cult all this credibility.
Right. And like, and
you can summon the Dalai Lama just by fucking
that's what I mean. And it's like, now I wonder, like, he's over there like fucking kicking himself probably.
Yeah, they paid him.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about this supposedly an offshoot group. It's not really, but that's what Vanguard tried to claim.
Yeah, that there's a breakaway fucking subcult.
Yeah, because the most famous allegations about this are the sex slaves. Okay, I mean, obviously, anything that has to do with like sex cults is going to be like big news. So now this story broke in 2017 in the New York Times. So this comes out about the DOS. As I said, it's, an acronym for a Latin term meaning masters over slave women or something like that. Now, supposedly, this was like an all-women group that was just run by the ladies in NXIVM, and they would recruit other ladies. And basically, what they would do is they would they would approach you with this thing like, oh, well, we have this like women's empowerment group, or we have this one that's just like all women and it's like self-improvement and all this other kind of stuff. And they would get you to come to this house in Albany. And then they would do like these weird, like eyes wide shut kind of shit. Like, you know what I mean? So Sarah Edmondson was talking about this on the podcast. She's like, she gets to this fucking house and she's talking to like this friend that she's known for a really long time. And she'd kind of been in the group and taken some classes and shit. And she's like, oh, we have this woman thing and it's really cool. And she's like, okay, whatever. So she comes to the house and she's like, okay, well, we have to do this like initiation type of thing. So it's like, you have to go upstairs and you have to take all your clothes off and put on a blindfold. At which point I'd have been like, nope, out.
Damn.
But you know what I mean? I'd be like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But because...
They probably videotaped all that
Well,
shit.
here's the thing. Now, she said, this is another thing they do, and this is another very Scientology thing. They make you start giving them what they call, quote-unquote, collateral. Now, at first... she's like, at first, it's just like innocuous shit. It's like, oh, I didn't go to the gym today, so you have to give me $10. It's like little shit like that.
Right.
But then it kind of progressed to, oh, well, now I need pictures of your breasts. Now I need pictures of your vagina. Now I need, like, secrets about your childhood abuse. Now I need this, that, and the other. Like, now they deal with secrets about, so now they have all this dirt on you.
So you can't leave.
So they do the same kind of shit.
Yeah.
They have blackmail material, basically.
Because you leave, then they go to all your relatives and they fucking cough all that shit up to them. Or
Yes.
They go to the media or some shit like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that would work on me either, because one, I haven't done anything that I'm terribly
They would look at
ashamed
me
of.
and you and they go, nah, they don't have any
That's
shame.
That's what I mean. I have no
They're
shame.
like, yeah. Tom and Jenny sex tape, 1999.
Right? I'd be like, whoop, there it is. Woo, enjoy.
Yeah. We're like, look at the size of that. Fucking, they can't shame me.
That's what I mean. You can't shame people that have no shame. We have no shame.
You can't fuck somebody who'll roll you over and slip it up in. I'll fuck you. I'll get that shit on video and you'll be up there testifying in front of the judge and your whole family hanging your head. That man hurt me. I'm back there smiling.
But seriously, well, that's what I mean. It's like, because
Can't shame me.
I can't think of anything.
No.
I mean, I can't think of any deep, dark secret that is like, because like
I'll laugh anything off.
Well, and also, I'm like seriously, I'm like the queen of TMI. I don't think there's any like dark secret about me that people. Well,
here's
the
thing. Here's the thing. You know what I mean? We're not normal people. We're in the goth scene, and we kind of grew up in goth and punk rock shit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like an Oscar Wilde type situation.
We just shrug off.
If you've got skeletons in your closet, you can make a living making them bitches dance. So any kind of dirt you have on me, I can flip it around and fucking make money off of it, or fucking get some kind of fucking, you know what I mean? Or people would just think it was funny, or it doesn't matter. You can't. That's why we were doing the shows in Scientology, and it's, oh man, what if they come after us? And I'm thinking, what could they do to us?
That's why I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, so what could they do to us?
I'm just like, actually, I think it would be kind of funny if like they turned up and like we're sitting in our driveway and stuff. I'm like, man, we could like throw breadcrumbs at them and stuff. It'd be rad.
Yeah, they can't shame people.
I could
like
get so much entertainment out of
Scientology.
They can't shame. Put a website up there with like pictures of my tits. I don't care. Everybody's seen them.
We'll just get more hits.
That's what I mean. I'll just get more famous. I don't care.
See, the whole Scientology getting dirt on you thing actually was a 1950s ploy.
Yeah.
That worked in the 1950s.
Ooh, they're gay. It's like, no one cares.
Exactly. It's when they had a very small Overton window of acceptability, and anything outside was shit, man. The United States, fucking, it's goddamn, it's like something down from the Roman Imperial era. You know what I mean? Fucking, you know, everything's fucking out there now.
And that's what I mean. Literally, I don't think there's. I mean, and I've had, you know, some of our friends that have told me some like pretty, you know, fairly shocking things about like their past or what they've done and stuff like that. But like I said,
it's not enough.
That's what I mean. It would just roll with it. It's like very, very. Unless somebody told me they were a serial killer or something like that, that's about all that would shock me. Yeah. It's like that's pretty much the only thing. No, I don't think there's anything else that could shock me, and I really can't think of anything that anyone could expose about me or you that would like ruin our lives or like ruin our career. Or, like we just.
If they exposed anything about me, it would just increase my notoriety.
Yeah.
That's what would happen.
And it's like,
Yeah.
anything they said was like, so I told my mom that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
So I don't know. It's what these cults are looking for are not people like me and you. So
I said, we're
for,
shameless. You can't.
So it wouldn't matter. If you ask me, I think a lot of these people are kind of yuppies. They're kind of nerds, and they're LARPing, and they're looking for people that have money, people that are status seekers, and they want conventional status. They want approval from corporate entities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, even if you're in the entertainment industry, I mean, maybe a long time ago, if it came out that, you were having an affair, or you were gay, or something like that.
Or you slipped a bottle up that woman's cooch. Like, what's his name? What was that guy's name who did that? And that cost him, back in the 20s, that cost him his fucking career.
Oh, was that Fatty Arbuckle?
Fatty Arbuckle.
Yeah. Well, also that woman died in his hotel room.
Yeah, but they never really did say. Evidently, I've heard that it really wasn't his fault.
I think it was an accident. I don't really think. I mean, He didn't mean to kill her.
I think it was drugs and alcohol related. I think she OD'd on something.
Well, and plus, I think he was having sex with her, and he was a lot bigger than her because Yeah,
that didn't kill her though. I think she died from. There were plenty of drugs available in the 20s that could kill you.
Well, yeah,
and I think they're up there taking drugs.
Yeah.
Probably cocaine or heroin.
But yeah, so I feel like
it wasn't heroin in the 20s. It would have been morphine.
Yeah.
I think. I don't think heroin existed in the 20s.
Or it did, but it was under a different Adderall.
I don't think it existed in the 20s. I think that came later.
But I feel like that, I mean, that's something that I just really don't think that would ruin your career nowadays. I just really don't think. Especially if somebody dug up some dirt on you and then you just leaned into it.
Yeah.
Like if you just came on the talk show and was like, I did that shit. Then everyone would forget about it.
That gets into the news shit that's going on now. The only thing that could hurt you is like what's going on with this Epstein's Island stuff, which is
if you're
underage.
They're
kids.
And also if you're a fucking rapist too, that's not good.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like consensual shit.
Right.
I'm talking about like back in the old days, they could have dirt on you because like, oh, we know you're gay, or we know that you're having an affair, or we know this, that, and the other. Whereas like if something like that came out nowadays, no one would care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, if you're a rapist, like I'm not talking about criminal shit, obviously.
Actually, I was remember something about like CIA and intelligence agencies used to like to fucking find out if guys were cheating on their wives, and they would try to use that as leverage to get to give up secrets, foreign spies and shit like that.
Yeah.
And they were using fucking women to try to entrap guys into extramarital sex, and it turned out that the results was that was ineffective.
Yeah.
That, you know what I mean? That extramarital affairs were ineffective fucking to get guys to give up secrets.
Yeah.
They found out later that what you needed something like underage girls.
Well, you need something. I mean, because
need something better.
Affairs,
than that.
it's not good, but it's like it's so common.
It's common, and the women tolerate it a lot of times because these are older couples, and for all you know, the husband and wife maybe they haven't been together in years. They might be, you know what I mean. A lot of times that the relationships might be kind of just for the kids anyway. Especially back in the days that they're talking about. They're talking about back in the 50s.
Yeah.
50s and the 60s, you know what I mean? So, extramarital affairs were not effective leverage.
Yeah, like even then.
Even those days, no.
And less now.
Probably less now.
Because, like I said, it's not good, but it's like, it's so common.
A guy won't give up a fucking state secret because he cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
He'll just tell his wife, says, hey, honey, you know what I mean? I've got to tell you something.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, there was this chick. You would have loved her. She was 25, and you know the deal.
Her tits were so perky.
Yeah, and
she had a cruise. She had an ass like Tom Cruise.
The next thing you know, she's going like, "Well, describe her to me." And then she's like,
take me through this.
Take me through this. Yeah. You still have her phone number. So it doesn't.
Do you mind if I go out?
Yeah, exactly. So you don't know. It's just, you know what I mean? It's not, the world isn't as it seems all the time.
Yeah. So the thing about this was that they would kind of build up, so they'd have this collateral about them where it's like they had like some dark secrets from their childhood. They had some dark secrets about shit that they had done. And also they had like a bunch of naked pictures of them, like naked videos of them and stuff like that, much like Scientology does. Yeah. So they would use that as collateral. Now, as I said, Sarah Edmondson, who was talking on this documentary about what she went through. So she's like, she goes there, she's like, they tell her, and it wasn't just her, it was like a couple other women too. And it's like, they tell her to like, take off your clothes, put your blindfold on. And they said that they were going to just, we're going to give you like a little tattoo, like to like commemorate your, commitment to the cause or whatever the fuck they said. And then they bring out a cauterizing gun and they branded them. And when they branded them, and you can see I'll put a picture of it in the video. There's a picture of her brand and like some other people have had them as well. And they said that it's just like this really cool Latin symbol. But if you look at it, it's actually Ken Raniere, Vanguard. And yes. Allison Mack's initials. Okay. Like it's a design made
so they
out
branded
of their
the cult leader's initials into it.
Into her.
Yeah.
And she was like super rad. I mean, she even said like on the fucking documentary, she's like, I'm not cattle. She's like, don't fucking... Because she didn't know. I mean, she didn't know what they were going to do. They said, we'll give you a little tattoo. Like, it'll show, like, your commitment to
what if that shit hurt?
The group. And so, oh, yeah. She said on the documentary, she said it was worse than childbirth.
Damn.
And that's like the other woman on there was like, are you shitting me? Like, she didn't say that, but, like, that's what she meant. And, like, she was like, yeah, seriously. She's like, because it took a long time. It took, like, 30...
Oh, they did? It wasn't 30 a brand. They fucking...
No, it was a little cauterizing gun.
Okay,
they wrote it.
All right.
She's like, it took like 30 to 45 minutes.
Damn.
She's like, it was just like this burning, like, thing, just like past it. She's like, it was horrible. She was like, it was the worst pain I've ever experienced.
Damn.
So they did that. And she's like, and I could see the other, and there were other women like holding them down.
Damn.
Like while this was happening.
Damn.
What the fuck? Girls.
Yeah, well.
God damn it.
So what were they thinking?
Ugh, I don't even know.
We'll get to the next
one.
one.
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, okay. I'm saying that, like...
Now, all of a sudden, I'm fucking curious. What are these bitches thinking?
Well, that's what, like, I think the lady that hosted the ABC, the 2020 program...
Yeah.
She didn't know what they were thinking either. Because she's, like, interviewing this woman, and like I said, she was, like, she's talking about all this shit, and she's like, why don't you just run out the door? Why don't you just... And like I said, I hate to blame the victim, but... I mean, she's like, look, at this point, I had been in this group for such a long time. I knew all these people. They were my friends. Right. At this point, they had kind of cut her off from, like, family and friends without her really realizing it.
This is the thing to do, then.
Yeah, it's kind of like, they kind of slowly, disassociate you from your outside influences, which is another thing that Scientology does as well.
Right.
Actually, all cults, pretty much all cults do that because they want this echo chamber where you can only, like, hear the message of the cult. You don't want any outside influence coming down. I don't think this is a good idea. But, yeah, so she's like, I thought it was fucked up, but, she's like, I had been in it so long, I had spent so much money on it, it's like, these were my friends, and it's like, and I thought...
joined the club.
Well, and she kind of, and the way, when she was talking, I kind of got this whole thing about, Ken Raniere and his whole, like, negging of, like, the women in the cult. She's like, I had been in the cult long enough to have internalized the message that, I'm a woman, therefore I'm weaker, I'm bad, so I need to get over that. So I kind of felt like if I did this, it would make me better, it would make me tougher, it would make me not like that.
So were most of the people that applied or entered this cult, most of them were women?
I don't know about that, but I think most of the more famous ones were women just because they were famous actresses.
Right. So he picked on the women. Once women came in,
yeah,
he decided he was going to start grooming them.
Because, yeah, that's definitely what he did. Right. And I'm not saying, and like, yeah, he had like a harem pretty much of like 11, 12 women. He also, one of the charges against him that I think he was found guilty of all charges as far as I know. This was back in June 2019. One of them was also against an underage girl. So this is a 15-year-old, which was the first one that he was like grooming.
This bitch gonna get about 30 years for this shit.
I hope so. Like I said, 15 to life, that's what they're talking about.
He's gonna get 30.
That made me happy because he'd probably be fucking dead before that. But
He might get out early.
I don't know. It just seems like this is the kind of thing, like I said, the whole thing about this, I mean, the women's group, what he said initially, like when the rumors about the whole sex slave thing started circulating, like he was like, oh, that DOS thing, you know, that's nothing to do with me. I don't run that. That's like the ladies' thing.
But aside from this 15-year-old girl, was this rape or was this consensual with all the other ones?
Well, see, he tried to argue it was consensual, but...
What'd the other ones say?
I don't know if it is, because the women that he had sex with that he was keeping as sex slaves...
Yeah.
They were... Basically, he had blackmail material on them.
But they would like come and go out and go to their normal jobs and then come back to wherever the
I don't know. No, because a lot of them, and Allison Mack in particular, because like I said, she was like a fairly famous actress. She'd been on Smallville and stuff. Now, when that show wrapped up in 2011, she basically like quit acting and moved to Albany, New York to be in the cult, like to live within the cult shit. So some of them were doing that.
Did they make money for the cult?
You know what? I don't know. Like, I don't know if they were doing that or if he was, like, doing some other... Because they were making a lot of money, like, with the courses and stuff.
Okay, so the courses were making enough money to support all
Yeah, because, like I said, there's one course, like, one of these intensives or whatever that was, like, 14-hour days or whatever. It's, like, $25,000, like, $25,000 to $50,000
Some people are fucking suckers. Either that or they're just super fucking rich.
Wow, I sure wish I had $50,000.
Yeah.
I could live for like 10 years on that shit.
No, you couldn't. $50,000. Okay, you come in $50,000.
I could live for maybe two. I could live for 2 years.
For one of these courses, and you're supposed to toughen up some kind of an executive. Is that what this is all about?
Or something. Or
to
like
give them
make
some
them
kind of skills.
Make them better at shit. Make them.
This just sounds fucking awful hokey to me.
I don't really get what the goal was.
It must be something like basic training, where you go in there and you kind of fucking, you know what I mean? You kind of fucking haze them into being tougher and more intense. And then you let them go back into their fucking, into the companies where they came from, and they're evidently got some swag after all that.
And like I said, a lot of them said that it did
help maybe I ought to get in this fucking business.
Oh, don't you start.
I will fucking haze the fuck out of a motherfucker. I'll make you tough as shit, and I'm done with you. Give me that $25,000.
Tom's cult.
I'll do it with you. See, the thing is, I don't believe in this you tell somebody to do something type of deal. That's not leadership. If you tell somebody to do something, you're going to do it with them.
Well, that's the only fair thing.
That's how you do it. That's how you get your cred. You can't just tell somebody to do something. You do it with them.
Well, yeah, I would have a lot more respect for
yeah.
all of these corporate douches if like
right. So whatever I do to you, I'm gonna do it right with you. See,
even if it's booty warrioring.
Oh, booty warrior! Fucking, be happening.
Take a shot.
booty warrior happening in both directions on both sides. The two booty warriors side by side.
He's an equal opportunity
equal opportunity booty warriors. You know, man got desires. If you don't understand it, look up. Go on.
He's giving him another plug.
I'm gonna give him a plug. Go on fucking YouTube and look up Fleece Johnson. Fleece Johnson. Booty warrior.
Is it fleece like a fleece?
Yeah. Fleece.
Jacket.
Fleece Johnson, booty warrior, and you will understand everything.
Now I meant to watch it and then I forgot about it.
You never saw it?
No.
Oh shit.
Well, you gonna show it to me right now?
No.
No.
It's a prison thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't understand.
You wouldn't understand.
Alrighty. So another actress that was kind of in it for a little while, Catherine Oxenberg, who was very famous in the 1980s because she was on Dynasty. Now, her and her daughter India, who was on some like teen talk show or something like that, and they went to some classes together, and then Catherine Oxenberg, the older one, she was just kind of like, nah, not for me. But the daughter stayed in it. So now, like, Catherine Oxenberg is like she wrote a fucking book. She's on all the goddamn documentaries and stuff saying for her daughter, get the fuck out of there. And apparently her daughter's going to get the fuck out of there. Okay. But I don't know, maybe she will now. I don't know. Since everybody's been fucking convicted. Although, here's the thing. I feel like now they're talking about how NXIVM is like, oh, it started collapsing like when everybody got like fucking indicted and everything. But I kind of feel like, and this happens with Scientology some too, is that every time somebody brings a lawsuit against them, or every time like Leah Remini comes out with like the documentary or whatever, I feel like there's a percentage of them that are just going to like dig their heels in because they feel like they're being persecuted. And there is nothing more powerful than feeling like you're being persecuted, especially if you're not really being persecuted.
Yeah, but this cult wasn't very old. Scientology's a lot older. And there are people that were born into it. So it's a different effect. This one wasn't around for very long. Usually what happens is a cult never really disappears. It just kind of dwindles down and gets smaller and smaller with fewer.
Or it just takes another form
and then it turns into another cult. That's usually what the hell happened.
And then sometimes you get like 100 people living in a little fucking commune somewhere.
Right.
Now, something that I forgot to mention when I was talking about this fucking group was that not only was there this whole DOS thing that was supposedly like the sex slave whatnot, but there was also a women's group called Jeunesse. And then there was also like a male-only group that was called the Society of Protectors or some shit like that. Okay. Well, like I said, this was a very patriarchal kind of like dudes are the protectors, women are the stupid idiots that have to be told what to do type of thing. Okay. Like he very much had that view of women, like that's what women were supposed to do. They were supposed to just be the helpers and they weren't as good. They had to be protected and blah, blah, blah. And they had all these psychological issues that needed to be fixed. So that's why now, but what I was saying about DOS was that he initially said when, like I said, the whole sex slave element was starting to like rumors about that were starting to swirl around, you know, Vanguard said that, oh, I don't have anything to do with that. He even wrote that shit on his website. It might still be there. Like, it's probably like fucking archived at this point because I don't know if their website is still live or not. But you can go to like the Wayback Machine and check it out. But yeah, so he's like, I didn't have anything to do with that, blah blah blah. But then when he was on the stand on the trial, he's like, yeah, I was in charge of that. Damn. So he did actually admit that, even though he's pleading not guilty. But like I said, all the women that were like, on trial next to him did actually plead guilty because I guess they have some shame. You all right?
Yeah, she's running up to Dan Catry.
So in 2018, so this is like, fairly recent. So Allison Mack was actually arrested and she was indicted also. Now, as I said, Mark Raniere was arrested at his big old palatial mansion in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, where I don't know if he thought, because the federales arrested him. I don't know if he thought he was going to go to Mexico and everybody's just going to let him get away with it because he wasn't in the U.S. anymore. Yeah, that didn't work out. Mexican government didn't like your stupid ass either.
Yeah, too many Jimi Hendrix lyrics. Going down to Mexico way.
Yeah. So he's living there with essentially 12 sex slaves. And so, so there's actually, if you watch the 2020 documentary, they had a little bit of footage of them arresting him, the federales coming. And there's what looks like footage of Allison Mack, the actress, in the thing, looking all what the fuck, as he's getting put in the car. And she looks super skinny. Now, they said that happened a lot with a lot of the women that were in DOS. I don't know if it was because they told them they were fatzos or if they weren't feeding them or what they were doing, but all of them looked really
It's my understanding.
scrawny.
It's my understanding that he told them that they should all weigh a certain weight.
That sounds about right.
He gave each one of them a certain weight to meet. He liked skinny girls, evidently. So
yeah, she looked too skinny. I mean, not judging, but I'm just saying she looked skinnier than she did to me.
That's weird.
She looks a little ill.
All right.
Yeah, so she got arrested also. What the hell is that cat doing?
She's over tearing that shit up.
And she actually did confess that she had, recruited women into DOS, that she had coerced them into getting brands, that she had coerced them into having sex with fucking Vanguard, who, if you see pictures, there's this one picture, I'm not going to put it in the video because it's too fucking gross, but the one they showed on the fucking 2020 show was him, and he's laying back on a bed like fucking Ron Jeremy or some shit, with his hands behind his head, on this green, ugly green sheets or whatever. Yeah. The dude is so fucking furry. I just can't. Yeah, he's got chest hair.
Is he skinny or is he fat? I haven't seen the guy.
He's average size. He's not either. He's not skinny or fat.
Okay.
But he's like looking there like he's like fucking sex god of the world. It's like, I'm Vanguard.
Oh man,
come get on this. I'm like, no thank you, no thank you. But you know what I mean? It's like not even. I'd rather.
So were they sex slaves or were they willing? Was it like a harem and they were fucking worshiping this guy?
I really don't feel like, because it's kind of creepy because there's this one video, and they showed like little parts of it in the 2020 documentary as well, where Allison Mack was like interviewing him. Now, she was obviously, I feel like a lot of them were kind of brainwashed, because some of them, like I said, it started slowly.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a kind of thing where you just like walked in for a class and everybody's like, hey, take your clothes off, we're going to brand your vagina. It took like a long time to get to that point. And I should note too, much like Scientology, some people that have tried to like undercover, like go in and take classes, like to write about the shit, they won't let you. You have to be invited. You have to have an invite to take a class. You can't just like walk in off the street. Right. So it's not like open to the public, which again, that's kind of a red flag. And Scientology does that as well. Right. If you walk into one of their orgs and act like the angry gay pope, like, oh, I'm so interested in this, that, and the other. But as soon as they know like who you are, you don't really want to do it, or you want information about them,
they won't tell you.
Then they'll be super cagey, and then they'll try to get rid of you. Yeah. And that's essentially what happened in this case.
Right.
So,
okay, I'm getting it in my mind that these weren't sex slaves per se. What they were is they were just fucking kind of brainwashed cult members that were having sex with this guy for what they thought was religious purposes. That's how they're gonna fucking
I more feel like the ones that got out and that were interviewed, they said they felt like they didn't have a choice.
Okay.
Because they're like, one, we'd been in so long and we were so, he takes pretty much all of your self-esteem away, your self-identity away, but also he had all this like blackmail shit on you.
But then you wonder, how will that hold up in court? How will the court interpret that? And I think, I don't know if did the courts interpret that as rape?
I don't know if they called it that exactly, but he did get, I can't remember though, there was like a huge list of like all the fucking charges that he had against him. Yeah. But it was basically kind of like that kind of situation.
Yeah, because
they didn't call it rape, but it was a situation where he had so much control over you that they didn't.
Coercive thing.
That's what I mean. It was more coercive, because you can rape through coercion as well. I mean, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how that works in court, but I'll tell you one thing. I mean, you could go to Scientology's, what's it, Gold Base?
Yeah.
Freaking where they have that all up there in the mountains and shit. They have a Scientology prison there, which is not really a prison. It's all the executives that are being punished, and they're in those damn trailers. They got bars on the windows of the trailers. And some of them have been in there for nearly a decade in those damn trailers.
Yeah.
Okay? That's a fucking long sentence.
Yeah.
Well, you could send the FBI in there, all right, to break them out of that prison, and they wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
They'd go, no, I'm here because I deserve to be here. This is my religion, and this I'm paying religious penance. You know what I mean? So the feds don't really know quite what to do with cults.
Well, it's a fine line, because it's like how much that's the thing. It's like if somebody is drawn into a cult at a very vulnerable point in their lives, say maybe there's like a 19-year-old girl, she's just gone through like some terrible trauma or some shit like that. She gets sucked into this shit, and then she's in it for several years. And she's isolated from her family. She's isolated from her friends. She's isolated from the outside world.
It becomes the only world that she knows.
And it becomes the only thing that she knows. Does she really have free will anymore? That's kind of... I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, it depends on the person, I guess.
I'm going to say
it's
no.
It's a gray area.
I'm going to say no. But the law isn't going to see it that way. Because...
I feel like it will... I feel like that it'll be like extenuating circumstances. Yeah. I feel like every case will probably be different.
In the United States, there's religions are kind of enshrined. The freedom of religion is kind of enshrined. So you could say, well, this is a religious act, so therefore it's constitutional. It's weird in the United States.
That's what I mean. And this is like
I don't know if I buy into this, because These aren't traditional religions, so I don't think they should really have the same kind of protections, if you ask me.
I don't
That's
know if
my opinion.
I mean, I don't think they should have protections any more than anybody else
as anybody
would.
else, right?
I mean, I don't think, like, if you want to do illegal shit that for anyone else would be illegal, then I don't think you should be able to do that.
It used to be in the 70s, though, it wasn't that way. There were actual pedophile churches that had protections back in the 70s.
That's what I mean. See, no.
But I don't think they do that anymore.
No.
But that was the interpretation of it back then.
That's what I mean. If your church has some shit that's like I feel like pedophilia, or animal cruelty or something like that is illegal for everyone else, then it's illegal for you too. Your religion is not an excuse. That's why I don't like that. That's why I don't like this whole thing where, where like parents are like, well, we didn't take our kids to the doctor because we don't believe in doctors because blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And like we tried to exorcise them and then like we suffocated them to death or we starved them to death or whatever. They need to go to jail.
I think so too.
They need to go to jail.
That kind of thinking.
That's not an excuse. If I did that to a kid and I didn't have that excuse, I would go to jail and so should you.
Yeah. Religion is an excuse.
That's what I mean. And
there's certain things that have to be fucking stamped out in religions. What are you going to say? Well, our religion believes in human sacrifice? Are you going to fucking say that?
That's what I mean. Where does it end?
Where does it end?
Where does it end? Right. Like, I don't have a problem if what you're doing doesn't affect other people negatively. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen, like, some religions, it's like, oh, we want to take peyote. I don't have a problem with that.
Some religions won't let people leave, and I don't believe in that.
No.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't believe in that either. Because, like I said, that whole thing where it's like, that... To me, that constitutes kidnapping. Yeah. Because you're preventing a person from freely leaving the premises. You know what I mean? Because, we saw some documentary the other day about fucking... Wasn't the Mormons? It was Mormons or Jews?
It was one of the Mormon cults,
like Mormon offshoot groups or something like that. They
let the girls leave,
and then like the girls couldn't leave and shit like that.
They were getting them pregnant underage. That
should not be allowed. No way. I don't give a shit what your religion says.
Right.
That would be illegal for anyone else. Therefore, it should also be illegal for you.
Yeah, and I think all religions should apply. Not just Mormons. All religions.
Well, like I said, anything that would be illegal for a non-religious person should also be illegal for a religious person. I don't think you should get any special.
Well, we live in a secular society, you know what I mean, and fucking secular law comes before all these religious laws because in a secular society we know that these religions are bullshit. No matter how much these people think they're real, they're not really real. And I'm gonna say it's Judaism, Christianity, Islam, even Buddhism, they're not real, really. You know what I mean? You can't violate the law just because you belong to those.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like I said, you shouldn't get special consideration. No. You shouldn't get special. No. Honestly, I'm going to even say I don't even like that they get tax exempt status. I don't like that.
It's kind of odd.
It is weird. I understand the history of it. I know where it comes from and stuff, but I think that's about time to
because corporations get involved in it, and big money gets involved in that, and they fucking abuse it.
Well,
you know that is going on.
Well, no, I know because what a lot of churches will do, and I've seen a lot of them do this even where I grew up and stuff like that, is they will it's like they'll open up other businesses. Yeah. Like one church that was near where I grew up. They opened this massive fucking, like an old age home, you know what I mean? Like one of those apartments and stuff. And it's like they had this huge, like, massive thing of land. And because it was, like, church affiliated, they didn't have to pay taxes on it. Mm. So, even though it was a business and they were making a lot of money.
That's not the only thing that they're doing either. They fucking can merge up with UN NGOs and do things for them that I don't fucking believe in.
Well, like I said, anytime they get, as long as they're doing stuff. I don't care what people believe. I really don't. As long as they're not infringing on other people's shit. You know what I mean? That's all. So that's what I mean. So, but that's why I'm kind of fascinated by talking about cults because it's like in a lot of ways, these people got into it willingly. I mean, you could say, like I said, these women that got into NXIVM, for example. They willingly went to these classes. They willingly paid for these classes. Yeah. It ratcheted it up to a point where they weren't really comfortable with it anymore.
Yeah. But they're still branding them and raping them, basically.
Right, but once it gets to that point, it's like, once it got to that point, they had been in it so long that, like I said, I would argue that I don't know if they really have all their free will intact anymore, because they've been because the whole thing of a cult...
They went through a process of what's called institutionalization.
Right, exactly. So and that's something that all of cults do. Scientology does this. Every cult I've ever heard of does this. They isolate you from friends and family. They isolate you from outside influences. They basically make it seem like we have this one leader. He is infallible. If you question anything he says, then you'll be punished, or you're wrong. They gaslight you. They do all this other shit. And if that is done to you for a long enough time, I would argue that you don't really have all your faculties about you anymore. And if this shit kind of happens to you, I don't think at that point you can consent anymore.
Yeah, pretty much really all these abuses have happened in every kind of church also. Yeah. And every kind of organization, shit like this, even sports organizations, weird shit.
It does seem like once an organization of any type gets to any type
then
of
you can
size,
start to fuck with people with it.
Then it gets to and it's a shame, but it's a shame that people will take advantage of it like this fucking douche did. Yeah. But he's going to prison, so yeah.
I think what they need to do is they need to start arming people with the knowledge that they need in order to fucking see what these things are, or understand what these things are when they fucking see them. But it's hard to believe that someone can be sucked into something like this and not know that
that's what kind of bothers me, because it's like, this is so... I mean, when I was reading about this, I'm like, God, that sounds just like Scientology. I mean, pretty much everything about this sounds exactly like Scientology. And I would have thought that by now, I mean, other than the people that are still in this shit, I would have thought that by now everybody knew that what Scientology was up to and what they were doing, what methods they were using. I had thought that was pretty well integrated into culture, but it seems that people are still falling for something that is essentially exactly the same. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm not going to shit on people because I know that people have... And like I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting to improve your life, quote unquote. It's, I'm going to take a business course and I'll be better. There's nothing wrong with that.
The funny thing about Scientology is that Scientology no longer needs to grow by getting new members. It doesn't have to proselytize anymore. It's big enough to where it can actually grow just by the reproduction of its own members. They have children now. It's funny.
That's what scares me.
Yeah. They don't have
you
to
guys
proselytize anymore.
Read that book called Beyond Belief. Yeah. About that girl that got out. She was born into it. Yeah. And then she got the fuck out when she was older. It is horrifying. Yeah. Horrifying.
They don't need to get any outside blood anymore, really. Although they are doing it. They're mostly preying on people in Central and South America that don't know any better. But I would think internet is slowly reaching everywhere. Eventually everyone will know, but... It's funny because...
then they'll just change the fucking name to something else. Because they've already started doing that. Because when I worked at a print shop here, there is something here. I wouldn't call it a church necessarily, but it's a little organization. I can't remember what the name of it is, but we used to do some print jobs for them. Yeah. Pretty sure that was a Scientology front.
Yeah, it's funny.
But it's called something different, and they don't say nothing about Scientology on any of their shit. They're very careful not to do that, but I'm pretty sure... I was reading their stuff, I'm like, yeah, I think it's Scientology.
Well, there are also some Scientology knockoffs. Yeah. And breakaways around here. What's funny is that if you look at Scientology now, I mean, I've been seeing videos posted by Darth Xander, and he's out there protesting and taking photos of people coming out of fucking Scientology headquarters down there outside of fucking Los Angeles or Hollywood. What's that big blue? Yeah. Coming out of Big Blue and everything. Which is the big blue building that they have. Yeah. Scientology has slowly become Hispanic.
Yeah. Well, that's the new audience they're targeting because
it's not the people who are paying though. It's all the staff. Yeah. Which are basically the slaves. You come in, they don't
pay you.
You don't pay you, but you get free food and lodging, and they work you to death, and it's kind of it's a cult. Yeah. And it's all Hispanic now. It's fucking... I guess they fucking didn't have what it... I guess they just say, hey, come to the United States. Join the cult and come to the United States. Fucking... You don't have to worry about anything. The next thing you know, they're down there working for the cult. not getting paid.
NXIVM did that as well.
Yeah.
They had some, like, undocumented people, and they would, like, hide them, but then they would, like, steal their identities and, like, take their money and shit like that. So, you know.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
not good.
Keep it classy, NXIVM. That's how you do. But yeah, I was reading like some of the names of their fucking courses, and it's like so Scientology as Dracula and his ghouls, best people, perfect world, the heroic struggle, that kind of shit. And like I said, even like people that like talk shit about them are called suppressives, or they're called Luciferians, which I thought that was pretty awesome.
It's like a suppressive, right?
Yeah,
they're holy, right? Yeah, they're real holy.
I guess, but it's like, what the fuck, man? So yeah, I don't really know, man. It's like this kind of shit. I don't know. I'm never getting involved in this kind of crap. I really don't see. I mean, I know everybody says that, but I really don't see any conceivable way that I could get mixed up with anything. Like, because one, I'm not a joiner. I hate people. I don't like want to do anything with people.
Yeah.
Anytime people ask me to do something, I'm just like, no, I don't want to do that. Right. So it's like I can't see. And he's like, oh, let's go to this group and like self-improvement. I'd be like, no thanks. I'm just gonna stay home and drink if it's all the same to you. Yeah. It's a lot safer. All right, so let's wrap up this show, which was kind of marginally about.
Hold on, you're gonna wrap it up?
Yeah.
Because there's something that I wanted to say about.
Oh, what'd you say? I thought you were done. You were like, you were over there doing your.
Not done with it then.
Waving around.
Okay. Basically, how this relates to this whole Q thing that I was talking about is that Q, which I don't know if this is the real phenomenon or not. They're saying that Epstein's Island was a situation kind of like NXIVM, okay, where it was a cult, a sex cult type situation. There was a temple up there, actually. I saw it. They're sending drones over there to go look at it. And that this cult was actually kind of it was funded by the CIA. And what it did was, and this is true, he was coming down here to Florida and getting these underage girls that were, 16, 17, from the trailer parks, and he was taking them up to this island. And what he would do is he would take world leaders to this island to have sex with these girls and get it all on video and use it as dirt, the same way Scientology uses dirt on people. So the CIA could control foreign operatives and people here in the United States. And that Q is saying that the Jeffrey Epstein fucking situation was a situation similar to this. I don't know if it's true, but that's just what it says.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
Well, that's what the only this Q thing, and I'm trying to figure out this Q thing. I don't know if this source this information is actually coming from this source called Q, or if this thing called Q is getting this from fucking public sources, and you know what I mean, and regurgitating it as its own. The things that this Q source seems to talk about seems to eventually mostly come true. Some of the shit didn't come true. But I haven't figured out whether or not if this is a real source or not. It's definitely more than one person. They're posting it on a place called 8chan.
Everybody knows what 8chan is.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you that. You know what 8chan is?
Yeah.
Okay. Posting it on 8chan.
Everybody knows what 8chan is.
And then they got a bunch of other people interpreting.
No one goes there. But everyone knows what it is.
But then they got YouTubers and other people trying to fucking do their own shows based on these posts. And to me, it kind of reads like tea leaves. I don't think there's much to it.
No, I think it's bullshit.
You think it's bullshit?
Yeah.
But I'm still looking at
Nothing good ever comes out of 8chan.
You know what I mean? It is interesting what this source is saying.
I don't know, man. I just because here's the thing. Cults are cults. They all operate the same exact way. Yeah. Dudes are not that imaginative. Yeah. So any dude that starts a sex cult, it's going to go down pretty much the same way because that's just how it goes. And like I said, so this cult comes across very much like like Scientology, like every other cult. So I don't know if there's any relationship between those two things. It's like, I don't know. I didn't see, no one was talking about that.
Well, I was looking at this Epstein's Island, videos of the drone footage. Drones flying over it. Have I showed it to you?
No.
I'll show it to you. He's got a temple on there and everything. It's a pretty interesting island. I mean, it's kind of cheap looking in some ways, but It is there, and it is his island. This source is saying that what Epstein had going on there was something kind of like the NXIVM cult. It's just that he was being funded by the CIA as a CIA operative to get world leaders, and world leaders did fly down there. That is proved. You know, a lot of the shit's been documented through flight records that they were going to this island and evidently to have sex with these underage girls, and he was bugging it, you know, with cameras and fucking microphones to get dirt on world's leaders, so they could manipulate them to get them to do what they wanted to do. Just like in the same way they were using dirt on the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here. So I'm just interested to see how it's going to go. I'm not going to discount it. Maybe it's possible.
Yeah. I mean,
maybe it's possible. That's like something the CIA would do.
I don't know. I don't read anything about that, so I wouldn't know.
You would know about it? All right.
Well,
Okay.
I just researched this. I didn't research anything. I didn't see anything
about Epstein's Island. No, we're talking about Epstein's Island.
That's what I mean. There was nothing about that that was related, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, another thing I was going to mention, too, that was also kind of similar to Scientology was that whenever it was this douchebag's birthday, they would have Vanguard Week. Because it had a whole week of, like, birthday celebrations, and everybody had to, like, kiss his ass and all this other kind of stuff. Also, I forgot to mention this. This was my favorite thing, and I was like, oh, I have to mention this. And it was, like, at the bottom of my notes. So, apparently, when, like, some of the higher-ups in the NXIVM kind of inner circle type of thing, so they supposedly told them that, like, in past lives, they were high-ranking Nazis.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So apparently, Nancy Saltzman was apparently the reincarnation of Hitler. So
even though she's Jewish,
there's that. Yeah,
that's
I'm like,
a Jewish name.
How does that work?
Hey, man.
So she okay.
Yeah.
I read that and I was like, wait, what?
They're gonna do what Scientology says. They're gonna say, well, we're many different people along the whole track.
So we were all Nazis. It's like, is that how should I feel about that?
No, what he's gonna say is that you're a Jew now, but in another life you were a Nazi. That's what they're gonna say.
That's the dumbest shit ever. This is the dumbest shit ever. Seriously. I was like, I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by this shit, but this is the dumbest shit ever. It's like people will like believe the dumbest fucking shit.
From what I remember, they all had kind of Nazi names and different that they all thought they were the like leaders of the Third Reich.
Well, they all thought they were reincarnated Nazis.
Yeah, they all thought it was
like everyone in like the inner circle anyway.
Yeah.
The fuck is the matter with you?
It was a fucking, you know what I mean? It was a fucking multi-dimensional Nazi fucking space cult with Jewish members.
I guess. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't get any of this. I'm just telling you right now.
They were jealous. They were a bunch of Jewish people, a bunch of money, jealous of the Nazis, I guess. Fucking in a cult.
That's messed up. Seriously, messed up. Seriously, get some real therapy. It's like you don't need to pay $7,500 to this fucking douchebag to like fucking Vanguard. Go to prison.
Vanguard.
God damn it. I mean, I'm gonna be September 25th is supposed to be his like hearing for his sentencing. That's the day before my birthday, so that'll be a early birthday present. Hopefully he goes to prison for a long time because, like I said, I saw interviews with this dude, like on the interviews and stuff, on the documentaries and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my god, if I could punch that dude in the mouth
the guys that are the leaders of these operations, actually, you know, the masterminds of these operations, they're intelligent guys, but they're mostly just making shit up as they go along.
Obviously.
And trying to take advantage of shit, you know what I mean? Just...
I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know if it's just me or some old or what it is. I don't have patience for this kind
You don't have
anymore.
patience? You don't have
no,
patience?
I don't have patience for this kind of shit anymore.
Okay.
It's like, you know, I see this dude on TV. Like, seriously, he was on there for like 5 seconds, and I was like, nope. That's enough of that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say that Jenny doesn't have patience.
I don't. Not anymore.
Okay.
I'm literally just like in Lethal Weapon, man. Patience. It's like I'm too old for this shit. I'm too old for this shit. I'm with Danny Glover, right?
You're with Danny Glover? Okay.
Right there. I'm too old for this shit.
All right. Shut it down.
Oh, now I'm allowed to?
You're
okay.
allowed to shut it down.
All right. So now I'm allowed to shut it down because Tom didn't have to go off on this.
Well, I said what I had to say.
Okay.
Okay.
You always say what you need to say.
I thought okay. If you got something to say, say it.
I'm not saying anything.
Okay.
You just want the show to be over. Well, you can leave.
Okay, I'm going. I'm going.
No one's stopping you.
I'm going.
All right. So that was episode 156, which is kind of marginally about the NXIVM cult. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know we went off a lot of tangents, but, you guys seem to like that. So remember, if you like the show, like, share, subscribe on all your social media. I know I said I wasn't going to do this anymore, but I'm just, used to doing it now. But go to our Patreon page, help us out, support us just like our cool people this week did. And we will see you on next week's episode. Bye.